This episode is sponsored by Reddit. One of the best parts of Magic is sharing your excitement with the gathering. And Reddit is where players gather first to react, geek out, and share ideas. Whether you're gushing over new cards at r/MagicTCG, speculating on lore at r/MTGVorthos, or checking out trailers at r/gaming, Reddit is the hub where everyone can find their interests and their people. Whatever your niche, Reddit has a sub full of fellow players ready to share tips, theories, and discoveries. So download the Reddit app today and dive into r/MagicTCG for the latest gaming updates.
Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Command Zone podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Weeks, and today I am joined by a very special guest. It's Tomer.
Whoa, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here in town in the States.
I know, it's very rare for me to fly over from Paris, but I knew if I'm coming to Vegas, which I'm doing in a week from now. Oh, I shouldn't say that. All right. Whenever this video comes out, I decided I was going to do a stopover, come to LA for the first time in like 2 decades. And
2 decades?
And visit people for the first time. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad
when
you
I was
made
a little
time.
kid, I went and I did Universal Studios. And I don't remember anything about it, but I remember it was wonderful.
Well, it's changed a lot since then,
Yes.
but you've got to go back right after this. Thank you so much for making the time. We appreciate it. For those who haven't seen your face around the internet, tell them a little bit about your content and your background.
Well, I work for MTGGoldfish, and I specialize in Commander content, specifically budget brews. I love doing Commander decks on a budget, somewhere between like $20 to like $50.
So impressive.
And I like doing huge compilations over the year. So like 2 videos, I'll do like 45 decks under $45 or 50 decks under $50. And I love budget brewing, and I've been doing it since 2012 or so. And
Every time I see one of those videos, I'm like, Tomer is a madman. This is crazy. It's so cool, though. I mean, for people to just have one place that you can go to and watch a ton of episodes and see like what sparks joy and what jumps out to it is really awesome.
Yeah, I found just like having everything all at once appeals to a broad set of people, because you might not be interested in one commander, but out of the 45,
surely one of
them might speak to you. So yeah.
Yeah, there's enough commanders these days that you could do a 45 every other week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tomer is also on the Commander format panel alongside Josh and I, so helping to advise wizards on the decisions of Commander and, just tell them what we think of what's going on.
If for 6 that he gets banned, it's my fault.
Specifically.
Sorry, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye. That's what this entire episode is about. So for this episode, we wanted to do something specific because I think you and I are both known as like brewers, as people who build a lot of decks and try and do something special and sort of intricate with them. So I wanted to do something that was more deck building based. So what we decided is we're going to pick 2 decks from each other's collections that we like and make swaps that we would make to that deck. So like a pre-con upgrade, but for our decks, basically. And then we get to ask questions and learn a little bit about the 4 decks that we are talking about today. So I think our audience knows a little bit about how I build, but I want to make sure they have a little bit of context for what they should expect in your decks as well. So tell me a little bit about like your deck building philosophy as a builder.
I really like synergy and focusing on themes. And I try to avoid too many staples, like generic staples. I try to make sure that cards like interaction or ramp even kind of fit what the general vibe of the deck is doing. And sometimes that means I leave out things that are probably strictly better and more just like more self-sustaining. Like let's say we're playing a higher power deck and I want to draw engine in blue. Risk Study is going to be better in every single deck, but like I just personally derive more enjoyment from finding a thematic choice. Even if it's a little bit weaker, I just find that a little bit more fun because it feels more unique. So when I pick up this blue deck, the draw engine is going to be different than another blue deck that I play. And also, at lower power tables, I don't play Sol Ring. I keep that for like bracket 4 and obviously CDH. But at lower tables, I just don't really enjoy Sol Ring that much. So I don't put cards that I don't enjoy in my decks. That's not like a value judgment on anybody else, but it's just like I like putting cards that I enjoy in my decks, and I think that's how everybody plays it. So if it's a card that I personally don't like as much, I just leave it out.
Yeah. We have that in common. I've actually cut Sol Ring from a lot of my lower power decks. And it's been great. I don't miss it. You don't have those games where you play it early in the game and it feels like a non-game that the Sol Ring won for you. And you don't draw a card in the late game that you're like, oh, well, it's not like anything special. It's a Sol Ring. I play it. I keep moving.
Yeah, we have it houseband on Commander Clash for years now. We really like it that way. So
yeah, it's pretty fun. It's nice buying a slot back in your deck, which is cool. So for this episode, we wanted to talk a little bit about what upgrading in this context means, looking at somebody else's deck and giving recommendations for it. A lot of this is going to be like taste changes, or it'll be questions like you don't understand some of the actual intentions behind the card selections. It could just be like, in my meta, this card wouldn't do anything, so I'm going to swap it with a card that like I am more excited about or that I like to play generally. And then the other thing that we talked about is any changes that we make to the deck should really maintain the deck's philosophy or the deck's theme, because you don't want to be like, add Sol Ring. Like I know that Sol Ring would improve any of my decks. So if the deck is a budget deck, not adding cards that will blow up in the budget. If the deck is really themed around one specific kind of card, trying to find stuff that fits into that ecosystem better than just being like, well, this is obviously the best in class of whatever.
Yeah.
So
sticking to the guiding philosophy of what the deck is all about is really fun. Yeah. And I also think the process is really cool too, because sometimes when you're brewing and you have a deck that you've had for so long that you get into the weeds of like the minor details, but having a second pair of eyes to look at it with a totally new perspective is so helpful.
Yeah.
Like I saw like some of the recommendations we're going to be seeing from you is like, I didn't consider it because I've been like looking at this deck for so long that I don't have that different perspective anymore. I have a very like narrow perspective. So it was really cool to do this and have another person who's like a very good deck builder just look at my thing and have a totally different perspective on things. And it was like really enjoyable. Like this is really cool to do.
It also was so much harder than I thought it was going to be.
Hard.
It took so long. I was like, okay, I'm going to goldfish each of the decks. I'm going to see what I'm having problems with. I'm going to like, now I have to look at the deck list. I basically duplicated all your deck lists and like resorted all the cards how I would sort them and to try and like recognize patterns and like just get to know the deck. And it took so long.
I was like, I brew every single day and I love doing it. And I'm like, I brew a lot of decks. How hard could this be?
So easy.
Let's open up Rachel's deck list. I built none of these decks before. None of them. Well, I built two. The two that I picked are the ones that I did, but I was like, oh, thank God. I see Mirko Vosk on her list.
Yeah.
The Surveil coming in there from Myrtles at Karlov Manor. I've built Mirko Vosk. I've gifted one to Crib, actually, my coworker. And I'm like, I open it up. No, it's closed. What?
You know nothing.
And I'm like, I'm not picking this one. No, what? That's out of my comfort zone. Let's go on. So yeah, it was harder.
It's definitely the thing to look at a deck and to see a card that to you sticks out, and you're like, I know Tomer. I know Tomer has a reason for this card being in here. I don't know what the reason is, and there has to be a reason. So there's a few of them that are really exciting, and we're gonna talk about sort of the discoveries that we made going into each other's decks. But before we get into the decks, of course, we have to talk about our sponsors. We're gonna be talking about a lot of cards in this episode. If you want to pick up any of those while supporting our channel or supporting MTG Goldfish, you can go to cardkingdom.com and use our affiliate link /command, or what's yours
MTG Goldfish.
MTG Goldfish. That's what I assumed, but I didn't want to confirm. That supports the show. Plus, Card Kingdom is the best. If you're buying a new deck, I will build the entire thing on ARCHIDEKT. I copy the entire deck list and I paste it into Card Kingdom to see what's in stock. And then you can make all the decisions all on one place. What foils you want, what printings you want, what condition you want. You click all the buttons and you hit buy and you're done. You don't have to pay shipping multiple times. You don't have to do a ton of research. It's just all under one roof. It makes it really easy. And they have a great team to take care of you to make sure that your stuff gets to you safe and sound, and it's all in one package. So support the show at cardkingdom.com/command. And once those cards are in your hand, you're going to need to protect them. Go to ultrapro.com/command to get the highest quality Magic accessories in the business. My new favorite sleeves are Apex sleeves. They shuffle so well. They have beautiful art sleeves. There's a whole line of Bob Ross art sleeves that is really touching my heart right now. And they have the Mana 8 line, which is the bright, bold mana symbol. So if you've got monocolored decks like I do, you can let the deck really wear its identity on its sleeve. So check out Ultra Pro for binders, playmats, deck boxes, sleeves, anything that you need, and use our affiliate link when you're shopping at ultrapro.com/command. And the final way to support us is directly at patreon.com/command-zone. Our patrons are the very best. You guys are directly helping us make content like this, or like our most recent 10-player Commander game. What were we thinking?
Wild.
Dear Lord. For that game, we give you a sneak peek at some of the benefits that our patrons get. There is a post-game conversation that replicates our Turn Talk series, which is exclusive for patrons at certain tiers. So if you liked that conversation and you want to see the conversation that we have after every game of Extra Turns, you can join our Patreon and get access to all of the turn talks we've ever had. If you're a big fan of Extra Turns, it's truly the very best. And you get access to our Discord where you can talk to me, Josh, Jimmy, any members of our team or our community, talk about the Strixhaven precons and how you're building those, or just ask us questions about our own personal decks or yours in our Discord. Again, that's at patreon.com/command-zone. And we shout out one lucky patron every single podcast episode. And this one is dedicated to Brian Kendall. Brian, you rock. Okay, let's get into it. We've got lots of cards to get to.
Yes.
I figured I would kick things off with one of your decks, and it's one that is a commander that I am obsessed with. I love this commander. It's Melek, Reforged Researcher. So this is 3, a blue and a red for a legendary creature, Weird Detective. His power and toughness is ***, and it says Melek's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. The first instant and sorcery you cast each turn costs 3 less to cast.
I love this little guy.
He's so cool.
I like that he's a weird. I like that he gets huge.
Yeah, so big.
Yes.
Twice.
And it's perfect for me because I'm a huge Izzet fanboy and I love Spellslinger, but also I'm a bad player who plays very slow, so I cannot be trusted with like 90% of Izzet Spellslinger decks because they're all Storm.
Right.
And then Storm means if I get to do my thing, everybody else, it's the 20-minute turn with Tomer, and you're probably going to have to help me out too because I'm really bad. And this one is so good because it's like, no, you want to cast one spell a turn.
One spell.
And then he's huge, so he just punches people really hard. He's one punch man, punches people really hard, no Storm. And it's like, that's perfect for me as a very slow player.
And you get to play so many spells that are like, you can't really afford to play in other decks because like you're playing all these 4-mana spells. And like you said, a lot of Izzet spells decks are based around like casting as many 1-drops as you possibly can. And this is like, no, you'll cast 1 4 to 5-drop every turn.
But it'll be one
neat.
mana.
It's pretty fun. So I was really excited about this one. There was a lot of cool things in this deck that I was like, oh, we have to talk about that. So before we get into it, I did want to ask you a couple of questions just to like get to know the deck a little bit better. So why did you decide to go with so many board wipes rather than more of like the board presence spells? Because I feel like Izzet decks either go one way, is either low board presence, high disruption, like this deck is, or you're running all like whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, make a Drake or a bird.
So the reason why is because when I first was trying to select which Izzet Spellslinger deck I would be building next, because I built too many of them, and they always become Storm. So I was like, okay, I'm going to build Melek, and then there was another commander that I was very excited for. It's called Magnus. He's Magnus from Warhammer 40K.
Is this your spells cost less for the tokens you have?
Yes.
Yes, great.
And I was like, he looks dope. I like the art. I don't know anything about Magnus, but he looks really cool. And he's like very much a token strategy.
Sure.
So what I did is I built 2 decks and I had overlapping cards for both of them. And I tried the Magnus one and I tried the Melek one. And the Magnus one Ended up being Storm.
It's Storm, yeah.
It's Storm. It just makes all the spells cheaper. And then I was a Storming on. I'm like, oh no, I can't be trusted with this spell slinger. And then I was like, Melek, you can't have any tokens. I'm sorry. So then it kind of just went board wipes, but it's not. It doesn't have a gameplay, like a power reason or optimization reason. Like a lot of the board wipes in the deck they deal enough damage that Melek actually survives it.
I noticed
it gets
that.
so big.
Right.
So it can kind of be one-sided, but I think the only reason why I don't have like more token makers is because I was building a Magnus at the same time. So it doesn't make sense in a vacuum, but if you know the history of it, that's how I got there. But it could definitely have tokens. It could have more of a board presence and less board wipes.
It also plays like propaganda and that kind of stuff. So it's definitely choosing to disrupt creatures in a slightly different way than like having a bunch of creatures, which is, you know, a way to disrupt creatures, sort of. Is I have a bunch of creatures, so your creatures do less, I guess. But I liked that plan. It felt like a very specific choice for this deck. And I liked that a lot of the board wipes were one-sided with Melek because he's enormous.
So big. And then there's no blockers and he's like a 20/20 and he punches people really hard.
And you're like, okay, I've killed all your blockers and now my guy survived. The other thing I noticed is I was going through the deck list. I was like, what is Whir of Invention doing in this deck? I was like looking at your artifacts and I was like, is it to find the dowsing device? There's no way it's to find dowsing device.
Okay, it's a bit of a rabbit hole. Okay, so
it was a rabbit hole.
I like weird tech.
Yes.
And Whir of Invention is actually part of a package of cards. So Whir of Invention is actually to find the artifact lands. Why?
Yes.
Well, first of all, 3 mana, instant speed, ramping in blue, kind of cool.
Kind of cool. It's got improvise, so it's not always 3 mana too.
Yeah.
This deck makes a fair amount of treasures.
Maybe Melek can make it like you could get something bigger, probably not, but like it's neat.
Yeah.
You know? I like neat things. And then the other thing is then okay, so that's like it's like the iceberg, you know,
right?
Like the deck brewing iceberg. So that's like reasonable, right?
Yeah.
And now let's go into the madness territory. There's 2 cards in the deck. They're like 2 red sorceries. They do the same thing. It's Cleansing Wildfire and Geomancer's something.
Gambit, I think. Yeah.
Yes. And both of them you destroy target land, and then its controller gets to search up a basic land and put it onto the battlefield. So here's what happens. The artifact lands are indestructible. You get Darksteel Citadel, and it's indestructible. You target it. You don't have to destroy it. It's not, if it is destroyed, you get the land. No. You destroy it, and then you just get the land.
Also get a land.
You target yourself with it, and then is it ramp, and it's weird, and I love it. And is it good? No.
When I discovered this package, I was like, it started with the Whir of Invention because I was like,
makes sense.
What's going on?
Maybe.
And then I saw the other 2 and was like, I think this madman is blowing up his indestructible lands. Because I looked at Darksteel is Citadel and was like, well, there's a reason this is here, clearly. Yeah. What? It's so cool. It's such a fun package. So I really did want to highlight that because I think it's neat. And it's all sorcery based with a fairly little like you don't need to like put a ton of random other artifacts in the deck to make that functional. But it was very cool. And I wrote, is Whir of Invention to find lands, LOL.
Yes. Look, it doesn't always work, but when it works, you feel like a genius. It's like so cool. Good. And everybody's like, that works? I'm like, yeah.
It does.
And when it doesn't work, you're like, I'll blow up your utility land, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I thought Geomancer's Gambit was originally. I was like, I guess it's disruption that cantrips. It's very cool. So let's talk about the cards I wanted to add to this deck because there's I have a Octavia deck, which is also like a graveyardy spells deck. So there's a couple of cards that I was like, oh, these are all stars in my deck, and I loved that you had the tutor that puts 3 cards with flashback to the graveyard.
Quiet Speculation, one of my favorites.
Love Quiet Speculation. Yeah. It's also in Octavia. It's great for any deck like this that just wants a ton of instant sorceries in the graveyard because it entombs 3 cards with flashback and then it puts itself in the graveyard. So it's 4 instants and sorceries right away.
Yeah, that one's so fun.
So I put in a couple of cards that have flashback that I really like in my deck that goes with my Quiet Speculation deck package. And the first one was Otherworldly Gaze. So this is single blue for an instant. It surveils 3 and it flashes back for 1 and a blue. So it's up to 3 mana to put like 6 cards in the bin or put some amount of stuff on top. And I've just found this card is unreasonably efficient.
Yes.
And like it does a similar thing where it can end up putting a ton of instants and sorceries in your graveyard before you even have Melek down because it is efficient. One of the big things I was finding when I was playing this deck is the deck gets so much better once Melek's on the battlefield. And if Melek isn't on the battlefield, you have a lot of 4 mana instants that cost 4 mana.
Yeah.
So I wanted a couple of things that are a little bit more efficient that can be your second spell on the turn and help you set up in the earlier game.
That is such a good point that you said second spell, because when I was brewing, I'm like, I'm just going to always cast 1 spell each turn when Melek is out. But really, like, you do have extra mana available. And what I really like about this choice is that it's such a great, like, it adds a lot of extra consistency to the deck too. Surveil 3 just means like you can cast it on turn 1 and you can keep like a hand that you're like, well, this is like a 2-lander, but like I have otherworldly gaze, and now I feel a lot more safe to keep this rather than going down to like 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because looking 3 cards deep, especially with flashback, means you're probably going to find that 3rd land and everything. And I also love that it's instant. So it's like
Instant's huge.
you can hold up your counter spell or something, which Melek likes to do because you can't let him die basically too many times. And then like if you don't need it, you can do that, or like you said, double spelling with Melek. Yeah, this is an incredible one, and I think the art is so sick.
It's so sick.
I want it in foil.
I am big on this card. I like it a lot. The other flashback card I wanted to include was Defy Gravity. So this is a single blue for an instant that just says target creature gains flying until end of turn, and it has flashback blue. So it's one of those things that you're like, okay, Melek's huge. I have a free attack on somebody, and it's a great card that you can rummage away in the early game with all of your like fill the graveyard type spells. So you discard Defy Gravity in the late game. It's something that you can use later, or it's something that your opponents need to be aware of, that you have this option to one-shot them in the sky.
I also like this one. Like I think I definitely neglected just the cheap efficient spells because I'm just like, 3 mana discount. But like this is really good again for the double spelling. I also think it could be very cute if you use it on your opponent's creature, being like, hey, there's an arch enemy, you want to have flying and punch them? Like,
it's my favorite with Octavia because you're like, I can give your thing flying and make it an 8/8, and you can get in there, and you can do it with 2 creatures too with the flashback. So Defy Gravity is one of my favorites. The other thing I wanted to add was to bulk out the War of Invention package a little bit, and I added a little bit more flying with some winged boots.
Oh boy.
A classic. They're a little bit more expensive, but it's 1 and a blue for an artifact equipment. Equip creature has flying and ward 4, and it equips for 1. So if you draw War of Invention in the late game, you're like, I don't really need it to get a land, and I don't really have like any other thing I'm looking for. Winged boots is a great win condition, and it's protection for Melek all in one. Ward 4 is basically hexproof.
Ward 4 is, we've learned this with like Voja. After Ward 3, it might as well write hexproof on it. So I do think this is also a good one because, Word is just there to do my little silly isn't ramp nonsense. And then once you have Melek on, you don't need to ramp anymore.
Right,
so this makes sense as having another option that makes sense to the mid to late game.
Right. Up next was a card that I am just obsessed with. I played against. This is oh my gosh, it's so good. I played against it in the budget episode on Extra Turns. This is a reminder text deck. It's the Emperor of Palamacia. It's blue and a red for a legendary human noble wizard. It's a 2/2 that taps to add blue or red, and it only casts non-creature spells. Not a problem in this deck. But whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1 counter on Emperor of Palamacia. Then if it has 3 or more counters on it, transform it. And it flips into a nasty creature. The Lord Master of Hell.
Whoa.
Of course. It's the Lord Master of Hell. So this is a 3/3, and it says when the Lord Master of Hell attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. So Lord Master of Hell is obviously very powerful in the deck and can do a ton of damage. The Emperor of Palamisia, the counters is a little bit more difficult because you're only spending 1 blue on your 4 mana spells. But what I liked about this card is it's a mana creature you can play in the early game to cast a 4 mana spell on turn 3. And it sort of is an alternate commander for if Melek gets shot out of the sky too many times, which
That makes sense.
definitely happens. I've played against a Melek deck here at the office. You have to answer Melek.
You gotta, or else you die.
So this is just sort of an alternate threat that you're like, hey, you also cannot let the Emperor of Palamisia get out of hand. Because I found that like decks that can diversify their threats is a sort of an alternate form of protection. Like if you don't necessarily need Lightning Greaves, if you have just something else that also needs to eat removal, it just thins out people's targeted removal. So I thought this card was kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember I was on the fence on this one just because I was like, oh, how will I ever flip it if I'm not casting it?
Right.
But reality is, like, if Melek is allowed to survive, the deck will win.
Yeah.
So then, like, it doesn't really matter if I flip it. And the nice thing about this card is that it's actually early game ramp.
Yeah.
It's early game ramp. You can play it on turn 2 and you're very happy with it. And then if Melek's being shut down, well, you have all these 4 mana spells.
Yeah.
So it will flip. And then your opponents have to deal with this, and that might buy you some time to get Melek back out. And I think maybe I was like, maybe there's too many board wipes for it, but like
Maybe that's true.
I think this is an incredible. This is the first one that I would throw in, and also the backside name is so cool.
The Lord Master of Hell.
I've never played this game before, but also I love the drip.
Oh yeah,
like he's like this demon clown. Like I love him.
Very Bowie coded.
I'm sad I'm not a cosplayer because this would be the thing I would go for.
He's so cool. I just think this card's really neat.
It's so neat.
Another one that I included that I'm sure you've thought about is Frantic Search. Frantic Search, of course, is 2 and a blue for an instant, draw 2, then discard 2 and untap up to 3 lands. Frantic Search, really good if you can cost reduce because you only cast it for blue and then you untap 3 lands, so it actually puts you up mana. And it's good in the early game because it just helps you with the selection, which you have a lot of in the deck already. So I put it on the list, but it definitely felt like one that I was like, well, Tomer knows Frantic Search exists.
So I actually, it should be in the deck.
Yeah.
Because again, you know why? I had it in my Magnus pile. And I was like, this is a Storm card. I'm not allowed.
I can't.
I'm not allowed.
They won't let me.
So, but yes, I think there was like cards that I left out, and some of them should definitely go back in. And this one was just like, that was in my Magnus Storm. Tomer's not allowed pile.
It definitely is more of a Storm card, but it's really great when you can untap your lands and then you're like, okay, I have my mana up for my next counter spell or my next draw spell on the later turns. So you really can cast an instant every turn. It doesn't choke up all your colored mana. And then I was like, no Factor Fiction. This deck has to have a Factor Fiction. It fills the graveyard. It's 3 and a blue for an instant. You reveal the top 5 cards of your library and opponent separates them into piles. Some go into your hand, some go into the graveyard. So it fills the graveyard. It's like the exact right cost. You only have to pay a blue mana for it. And something that I did notice about this deck is it has a lot of card selection, but not a ton of card advantage built into it. So I could see games where you can cycle through your hand really fast, but wind up only having like 1 or 2 cards actually in your hand at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And have a lot of cards in the graveyard. So having a couple more things that just restock your hand and actually put you up cards felt helpful.
I remember it was in the deck, and I don't know why it's not. I know no one will ever help you because I like this card when it's like, hey, buddy, I'm behind.
Yeah.
Maybe you give me a 5-0 split and we can help. This never happens.
It never happens to me either.
Even if I'm behind, people are like, make sure he's dead.
But still, like 1 mana draw 2, 1 mana draw 3, put three or 2 cards in the graveyard is pretty good.
Yeah. Is it available in old border foil?
It is, but it's so expensive.
Okay, maybe. Okay, that's a consideration.
Inspired Tinkering is one I wanted to mention. I love this card. It's a 5 mana sorcery, 4 and a red. Exile the top 3 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards, and then you create 3 treasure tokens. So if it's reduced by 3, you only pay 2 to cast it. You get 3 treasure tokens back, and you get to impulse draw 3 cards.
That was in the Magnus pile.
Yeah. It is also kind of a Stormy card.
But it's not in this deck.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So yes, that is another one.
The biggest downside to this card, of course, is that you impulse draw 3 cards that you only have you have a full turn rotation with. So you do need to kind of get them out of exile, and you do have a lot of expensive cards. So if Melek's not in the battlefield, this card feels a little bit worse, but it's so good when he's on the battlefield.
So good. And the fact that it puts some treasures on, so it kind of sets you up for like a really big next turn.
For sure.
I really like that.
The next one's a new card. I cheated a little bit. It's Rapturous Moment. This is from Strixhaven. The Secrets of Strixhaven. It's 4, a blue and a red for a sorcery. So 6 mana altogether. Draw 3, discard 2, but add blue, red.
This card is like so good here. Yeah, I don't have the Strixhaven cards yet. This is a great one. Like,
oh yeah,
my
this
brain
is total
hasn't
cheating.
processed the set yet, but like this is perfect. No, because there's so many cards that are coming out. I think it's even impossible for like for me at least. And this is my job, right? I look at cards and I brew decks every
all
day.
Yeah.
And I still miss stuff. You know, like I don't even understand when people show me a card from New Capenna Commander. That set is like a black hole
that
in terms of my knowledge. And it's so good. But everybody's like, where did this card come from? I don't even know the logo. And it's like, it's Capenna, obviously.
It's always New Capenna Commander.
But yeah, this is another one that's like, these can always slip my mind, even though like I'm doing like set reviews and stuff. And
totally.
Like, this is perfect. This is perfect for it.
It's so cool. And it gives you that 5 mana so you can cast another second spell. So it's great to reduce. Then I have Sublime Epiphany. I think one of the coolest things about Melek is you get to play these big, dumb counter spells that are like 6 mana, 5 mana, like expensive stuff. And Sublime Epiphany is one of the ones that I would play just because it has enough upside that if I'm casting it for its full cost, it still feels worth it. Because you can counter a spell, you can counter an activated or triggered ability, you can return something to their owner's hand, you can make a token copy of target creature you control. Not great in this deck. And then, of course, you draw a card. So it's one of those disruption spells that's just like, if I'm spending 6 mana for this, I can get 6 mana worth of value out of it, even if Melek's not on the battlefield.
I've been like just an irrational disbeliever of this card since it came out. So I'm a disbeliever who has never played the card yet, which is the worst kind of disbeliever. I need to give it a shot. Like I have a 6-drop deck, which is just the mana value of every single null card is 6.
That's so sick.
And I didn't put it in there, and everybody's like, why don't you put it in here? It's so good. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't think I don't know if the card's going to be any good. But then I never played it.
I mean,
I will try it. I will have to try it.
Josh plays this card a lot, and I've been wrecked by it a few times where you're like, okay, bounce your attacker, counter your trick. And you're like, no.
So nice.
So you can get super, super wrecked by this, but it may feel expensive in your hand. That's very possible.
And the artisan. Another thing is like if the art is neat, I will just put it in.
Yeah, done, sold. The final one is one that I'm sure you're aware of. It's Soul's Fire, 2 and a red for an instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it's removal. It can kill a player more likely. He gets so big, but the thing I like the most about this is it's an instant. The instant speed stuff is so big. When like somebody goes to remove Melek, you can kill them in response, or you can at least do a ton of damage before he leaves. And you don't have to fire it off until it's like absolutely necessary, which I think is nice.
It is a great card, and the reason why it's not on the list right now is because it's so good that I wanted to test some other cards.
I was wondering if that was why.
Yeah, I have like a pile of cards that like I already know they're good, but when I want to try new cards, I take out the cards that I already know are good because I've tested you.
I know what that is.
And you're good. So Soul's Fire, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
It should be here, and it definitely is. I think I put in like Soul Blight or something. There's a new Lorwyn Eclipse.
Yeah.
I haven't drawn it yet.
Oh, that card's
like,
awesome.
It is basically another one of those one-sided board wipes.
Like a Chandra's Ignition type.
Yeah, where you take out everybody, but
Soul's Immolation.
Soul's Immolation. Yeah, Soul's Immolation. But it's more mana and it's sorcery speed, so it's much more disruptible in a way. Where Soul's Fire is just like, in response to your nonsense,
you die. Yeah, and then none of that happens.
Yeah, exactly. So this is an excellent one. I was just like, it's in my guaranteed pile.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a really cool way to deck build, where it's just like, well, I've got cards to test, and I don't really know. I don't want to take out the cards I haven't tested yet.
Yeah, it's so hard to draw the cards that you put in sometimes.
100 cards is too many cards.
Too many cards. How many games do you have to play to see all the cards? I swear, there's some of the cards in my deck that I've had for like a year and I've just never seen them.
Yeah?
I know they're there because I check, but like, I never draw them.
Yeah, and we play constantly. So I don't know how anybody else does it. Speaking of too many cards, I made a couple of cuts that I would make as well. We're going to go through these pretty quick. Dowsing Device was my first cut. This is one, whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, a creature gets bigger and then it flips into a land. So it's like once it triggers 4 times, or if you have 4 artifacts, it flips over and it's an artifact. So it's kind of cool. Boros ramp. You don't have that many artifacts in the deck.
No, I can tell you why, because we have a very inbred Commander Clash meta where we had like a full season, like 3 months straight, and we play Commander every single week with this group, and it's been a weekly episode Commander Clash, and it was like we were so dominated by Farewell that we're like, Mana Rocks, unplayable. Get them out of here. So even before, like I didn't even have like Is It Signet, because it's like, Farewell, we're going to get Farewelled every single game. I cannot run these early game ramps because we're just going to get Farewelled and then I won't be able to cast Melek. So it's like, if I have ramp, it has to be a land.
It has to turn into a land,
and I think that's just like a relic of that. I don't think it's good in the deck. So I think that's a very easy cut.
The next one I pulled to cut was Sojourner's Companion. This is here to cycle for an artifact land.
Whoops.
But it's like 2 mana to cycle for an artifact land, then you play the land, then you have the spell. It's a little too expensive. That's
an easy cut. Easy cut. It's just the iceberg again.
I love it though, because I do the exact same thing. Surveyor's Scope was one that I was going to cut. This is more like artifact land ramp. It only gets you lands if you're behind on lands, and it feels like you have a lot of plans to get ahead on lands. So having an artifact that just doesn't really do anything in the deck unless you're in a very specific moment. But if you're all land ramping, then maybe Surveyor's Scope is always good.
That's a pet card. Sometimes it works so well, but usually it's the decks that work so well are the ones that kind of put themselves back in land count. Like if you are in multicolor and you run a lot of the bounce lands, the Ravnica bounce lands, there are some ways to really make it work. But it's more of like a pet card. And it's also another relic of the Farewell era where it's like, it's not a mana rock.
You have to have lands.
You can't exile my basics.
Jawari Disruption is another one. This is an MDFC that's a mana tithe-ish on one side and a land on the other side. I like running a lot of the MDFCs in decks that care about types like this. But you also have Lorien revealed, so you're kind of at like 39 lands. So I just didn't think you needed the extra one, and Jawari Disruption is pretty bad as a land and pretty bad as a spell.
This is a meme card.
Yeah.
It's just like, because it's for the content, but it's also for the entertainment.
But if you get Jawari Disrupted,
is it a good card? No. But is it very funny?
Yes.
If you make somebody have to pay the one and they don't have it, and you're like, bam, I got you a Force Spike on a land, 2 mana Force Spike. Yeah, it's not good.
Scavenge Brawler was one that I went to cut as well. This is cool. You can rummage it into your graveyard, and then you pay 5 mana to exile it from your graveyard, put a bunch of counters, a flying counter, a vigilance counter, a trample counter, a lifelink, all this stuff onto Melek. But Melek is already such a target for removal. If you spend 5 mana to do this and they kill it in response, you're like, I lose. I lose the game. But I love this card.
Yeah, I have it in a bunch of decks because I just like it.
It's cool.
But it doesn't fit here.
Yeah.
It's like, again, it feels very win more. Because Melek's around, like the one you added, the one that gives flying with flashback. That's infinitely better than this because like this doesn't give it haste or anything.
He's already huge.
Yeah. And do you need the lifelink when everybody's dead? Because it's like, who cares?
A lifelink when you're gone.
Yeah, either Melek lives or he doesn't, and then everybody else is dead. So this is I need to cut this one.
Another one is clearly a meta call. This is Flaring Pain.
Hell yes.
1 in a red for an instant. Damage can't be prevented this turn, and it has flashback for a red. In Fog meta.
Fog meta! The Fog meta is real! We had we're still on Commander Clash. I don't know how prevalent fogs are on the
Not
command
very.
zone.
I mean, some.
But we live in fear of the fog meta. Because every time they show up, it's so good.
You have so much non-combat damage. damage.
We have this like really strong bias of like, yeah, we're very combat heavy.
Yeah.
And we have this very strong bias of like whenever the fog actually works, we're like, the fogs are overpowered, and but we don't remember the times when the fogs are sitting in our hand doing nothing.
Yeah,
but
the
like
fogs are narrow, and then Flaring Pain is like for the moment when fogs are good.
Yes, and yeah, it does nothing else, but it's like, well, if you counter it the first time, guess
so
what?
funny.
Flashback. And it's entirely a meta call.
So funny.
So dumb.
I love it. Team or Battle Rage is one that I was going to cut as well. I think this card's fine, but you have so many ways to non-combat damage people that I just don't think you need a Team or Battle Rage. It doesn't draw you a card or anything.
Yeah, you're right. Like, he doesn't need it.
He's huge. Double Strike is only like so good. Like, it's mostly there for the trample, and it feels like the flying stuff is a little better.
It just feels good when you're like, I hit you for 40 double strike.
Yeah,
like,
and they're
yeah,
like, well,
I mean, you already got me.
You're like super dead. I don't even see the second strike.
100% win more.
Past in Flames is one that I cut. I just don't love this card. 3 and a red for a sorcery. It's each instant and sorcery in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. So in this deck, the Past in Flames is reduced, and then everything else in the graveyard is still for its regular cost. And you have so many expensive spells that it just doesn't feel like you're going to get a ton of value out of Past in Flames. It'll be like you pay 1 extra mana for a sorcery speed. Flashback a 4-drop or something.
Well, first of all, this should have been in the Storm Do Not Touch pile.
Yeah.
But,
okay, my piles are mixed.
Yeah, I think it's like a relic of when I had like Quiet Speculation is one of my favorite cards. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that was a big reason why I wanted to pick Melek. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have enough flashbacks. I think I had like 5 in the deck when I started, and I put in Past in Flames because it's like, well, it's another flashback target. It's a good one with flashback,
yeah.
But honestly, like, it feels more stormy, and typically when I want to do very naughty things with my graveyard, you just cast like an overloaded Mizzix's Mastery.
Yeah, that's way better in this deck.
In terms of mana efficiency, just overload it. You pay like, I think it's like 7 mana to overload it, but then you get to cast all the spells for free.
You get like 25 mana worth of spells. This one makes you pay all 25 mana if you want them.
Do you think like maybe Past in Flames is just like a relic of like an older time? Because I remember it was so prevalent, but like every time I look at it, I was like, that's a lot of mana.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about like, we just got the card Flashback in Strixhaven. That is 25% the cost of this, and it basically does essentially like the same thing. Yeah. It's 4 mana, but all your spells gain flashback. And you're like, yeah, how many are you going to cast?
But
you just cast a 4 mana sorcery.
On it, Wizards, just make it like a 7 mana flashback, please.
Yeah. Ooh.
I just want the word.
Then I cut Refuse to Cooperate. This card's cool. It's a copy spell that you can cast from the graveyard. Is the big thing, is the Cooperate side of it. You have a lot of copy effects in the deck, so I just trimmed one, and I felt like this one was the worst, but you know, it's cool.
Yeah,
I've never been cooperated.
It's a gotcha. Also, you can
get somebody with a big spell.
Yeah, like one of Seth's favorite cards is Seagate Restoration, and he also just doesn't care about blockers.
Just casts Seagate Restoration.
So he's just like got 7 life or something. It's very funny.
He's casting Seagate Restoration at 7 life.
Refuse, die, please. I love that. It's just another meme card.
Refuse deals damage to target spell's controller equal to that spell's converted mana cost. So if they cast something big and splashy, you can you punish them for it. Finally, I cut Planetary Annihilation. I think this deck wants as many lands as possible. Most of your ramp is lands, and you have a lot of board wipes, so it felt like it could go.
Yeah, I don't need this many board wipes, especially because I've just added a new one from Lore Wind Eclipse, the Soul Emulation.
And that's way better than this one in this deck. Yeah. I think this card's cool, but it's just not quite as potent, I think.
Makes sense.
Okay. So that is Melek. We've taken a lot of time to go through it. We've got 3 more decks to talk about this episode, so we've got to get moving. But please stick around. We're going to talk about 2 of my decks and my favorite of Tomer's decks. I'm very excited to get to it. So stick around.
Good morning.
Josh, did you see what happened?
Yeah, about the One Ring?
No, something else.
The Union stuff?
No.
The Pinkertons?
Dude, that was years ago. You gotta check Reddit. When Magic news breaks, Reddit is the first place players go to talk about it. It's one of the biggest online Magic communities out there, full of real players sharing their love of the game, or sometimes other feelings about the game. My go-to subreddit is r/MagicTCG. You get reactions to big announcements, theories about lore, and tips on everything from strategy to navigating live events. But I'll also just browse r/gaming to check out new trailers, reviews, rumors, you name it. Plus, there are subreddits for every genre, niche, or Magic format out there. So whatever you like to play, there's a community where you'll fit right in.
Hey, did you guys see what happened?
Yeah, the Star Wars Holo Stamp.
No, there's something else.
What?
Yeah.
All right, I gotta download this app.
One of the best parts of Magic is sharing your excitement with the gathering. And Reddit is where players gather first to react, geek out, and share ideas. Whether you're gushing over new cards at r/MagicTCG, speculating on lore at r/MTGBorthos, or checking out trailers at r/gaming, Reddit is the hub where everyone can find their interests and their people.
Download the Reddit app and dive into r/MagicTCG for the latest gaming updates. Download the Reddit app today.
This message is sponsored by RAYCON.
What's up? It's me, Jacked Rabbit, out here in the forest getting my pump on. Now I'm big for a bunny, honey, but trust me, there are things in these woods even more ravenous than I am. And frankly, I'd rather look like a snack than be one. Wink. That's why I always wear my RAYCON Essential Open Earbuds on leg day, which is every day. Their open ear design gives me crystal clear audio, while still letting me hear what's going on around me. So I can jam my workout hip-hop. Then if a predator sneaks up mid-squat, I'll pivot to a regular hop and bounce out of there. RAYCONs are lightweight and adjustable, so they fit perfectly over my big old floppy ears and never fall out, even when I'm tapping down to attack or do push-ups. Plus, they're so high quality, it's no wonder they've got over 3 million customers. Why, that's almost as many rabbit buddies as I'll make when I'm done getting carrot caked up. Thanks to RAYCONs, I can focus on getting swole without accidentally becoming part of a food chain combo.
The Essential Open Earbuds are the perfect addition to your everyday routine. Go to buyraycon.com/command-open to get 15% off. Again, that's buyraycon.com/command-open. Thanks, RAYCON, for sponsoring.
Okay.
Hey, Rachel, what's with all the papers?
So you know how there are daily calendars and monthly calendars?
Sure.
What about weekly calendars?
What about them? Do those exist?
They do now with my brand new product, Rachel's Weeks. I know that this is a $1 billion idea, but between design and inventory and still hosting the podcast, my to-do list is through the roof.
Yeah, that is a lot, but you know you don't have to do this alone, right?
Really? You'll help me?
Oh, no, not me, but I will tell you about Shopify. When the Command Zone was just getting started, Shopify was a huge help launching our merch store, and we're still using it today. They streamline everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns, which frees us up to focus on making more Magic content. And for new brands, they've got great marketing tools to get the word out with social media and email campaigns, plus built-in templates to save time building your website. Between all of that and 24/7 support, they just make the day-to-day super easy.
Or in my case, the week to week, because I'm Rachel Weeks.
Yeah, we got it. Start your business today with the industry's best business partner, Shopify, and start hearing. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/TCZ. Go to shopify.com/TCZ. That's shopify.com/TCZ. Aha, Psych Rift. Yeah, this deck feels like a 3.
Updating your decks?
No, I'm just sorting them into commander brackets.
Oh, just use ARCHIDEKT. It's the easiest way to get an estimate of your deck's bracket. Plus, you can click the number and it'll lay out the reasoning. It takes things like tutors, extra turns, and land destruction into account, and game changers are all clearly marked. It even recognizes 2-card combos. See? It's saying your deck is actually a 4. It'll be a 3 if you got Ristic Study.
Huh. Okay, 4 it is.
ARCHIDEKT is the best place to browse, brew, and check your deck's commander brackets. Just go to archidekt.com/command-zone to get started.
That's ARCHIDEKT.com/command-zone.
Welcome back, everybody. We are upgrading decks, and it is my turn. Tomer has picked a deck of mine to upgrade, and I can't wait to hear all about it.
This is my favorite deck of yours. When I think your decks, obviously the first one I think about is the Feldegriff.
Sure, yeah.
Like I feel like that's one of the first signature decks that I think about for Rachel. But then obviously Octavia. But the one that I like the most is the little goofball Norin the Wary.
Yes!
Which is whenever anybody plays a spell or a creature attacks, Norin exiles itself and comes back. And it's a 1-mana commander. And basically because it's impossible to remove Norin, right?
Yep.
He's just every single turn you can kind of guarantee that he's going to exile himself and then come back on end step. And he's going to do that on your turn. And he's going to do it on everybody else's turn. So he's like this really funny, very consistent blink commander. And the thing that I love the most about yours is I think you're the only person in the world who would look at Norin or look at any deck and be like, look at any deck and be like, you know what? Stickers.
Stickers.
Stickers. Stickers. Who uses stickers? And I was like,
it's so good with Norin.
I was like, there's no way it works. There's no way. And then I watched you play it.
It does.
And it works. And I'm like, What is going on with stickers? Did Mark Rosewater put you up to this? And
When somebody told me that stickers don't fall off in Exile, I was like,
all of them.
oh no. Like, I'm going to have to figure out how to get stickers on Norin the Wary in mono red.
That actually leads me to my first question.
Yes.
Stickers don't fall off in Exile,
Yeah.
but they fall off physically from the
they
cards.
do.
How do you get around this?
I just stick them back on there and cross my fingers. They're not sleeved or anything. Like, and if I get an ability sticker on Norin, I will peel it off and stick it on there because it's like hard to do. I don't play this deck that often.
Yeah.
So it's not, and you only use 3 of the sheets per game. So it's
Right.
not necessarily like you're using the same 3 sheets over and over and over again. It's more random than that. But the ones that are really good, like there's one that says whenever this creature leaves play, you make 5 clown tokens,
Insane.
which is dumb. Like that's not supposed to be attached to Norin. That one is a little worn.
Yeah.
So logistically, it's a bit of a nightmare.
Do you have like extra copies of each of the stickers?
I should.
How often do you lose stickers?
I haven't lost one yet. I will forget to like take them off cards
Right.
in the deck and will like find them while I'm shuffling. So that's good. It does require more cleanup than most decks.
And then beyond the stickers,
Yes.
you went the extra mile and you're like, you know what? Stickers? We'll make this work. Why not? Sure. Then we're going to go attractions.
yeah, you have to have attractions
course.
because that's like some of the ways to get stickers on.
Right.
It's really hard. There's 10 attractions.
Yeah.
Only a couple of them actually put stickers onto permanents.
Yeah.
But if I have a chance, an attraction can just put a sticker on him and it doesn't scare him at all.
My goodness.
So there has to be attractions in there also.
This is one of the things that gets me so excited about this. First of all, I'm such like a brewer hipster. Like I love decks that are like utterly unique that like you can associate with a person. And this one definitely checks that box. I've never in my wildest dreams would I even think about the concept of putting stickers on Norin the Wary, but it works really well. So that's why I love this deck. And then also I really like decks where it's not super easy to do the thing. Like that's kind of counterintuitive with like a lot of commander design. But like I like decks where it's like, yeah, you want to do that thing, you got to work for it. And this deck works for it because there's like some creatures they'll enter and they'll be like, I'll put you a sticker on one of the things. But by casting it, Norin's like, peace, gone. So you can't. So how do you do it? You have to like copy it. You have to clone it. You have to throw it in the graveyard and then turn it into like a dinosaur with dino DNA. And I'm like, I love this. You are working so hard for your stickers, Rachel.
I'm running Ether Vial to put in stickers.
I was like, why is Aether Vial in here? What does you barely have? And he's like, oh yeah, of course, because Norin's gonna peace out if you don't.
The annoying thing is like if you go to like put a sticker on Norin, if anyone has an instant, they can stop it.
Norin the betrayer.
Yeah, like
okay.
He's great. I love this deck so much, and I love these suggestions that you have.
Okay, so we'll move on to suggestions.
Yes.
Gotta keep it going. So the first one I want to throw in is a card that I have loved for so long. It is Curse of Opulence. It's an aura curse for 1 mana. You enchant a player, and then whenever anybody attacks that player, you, the owner of the curse, and the person who's attacking that person gets a gold token. And a gold is basically a treasure, but better. You don't have to tap it to make the mana. What I like about Curse of Opulence is it's a 1-drop that can essentially generate 1 mana every single turn because Norin can trigger it. Norin attacks, and then he disappears. So he's never going to have to die.
I did not think of this. I love that you this and the next one. I was like, I never considered attacking with Norin. I'll do it like as a joke, but I didn't build anything around attacking with Norin because he triggers himself. It's whenever a player plays a spell or a creature attacks, he leaves. So he's never going to do damage.
Yeah.
But he does attack them. That's so smart.
Sometimes I know some people get a little bit salty about this card because if you curse somebody on like turn 1, you're like, you've been an enemy for life. I like, at least it's kind of cute with Norin because you're like, I'm not hitting you.
I'm never going to hit you.
I'm never dealing damage to you. I'm just Norin's going to aim at you. That's it.
He's just drawn to your opulence.
Yes.
And afraid of it.
Yes. And then if other opponents attack you, I mean, that's their prerogative.
Yeah. The deck also has a bit of an artifact sub-theme, so it goes along really well with that.
Yeah. And so same idea with the Guild Artisan, which is the next card. It's a 2-mana background, and whenever a commander creature you control attacks a player, as long as no opponent has more life than that player, you create 2 treasure tokens. So again, this is another thing where it's like, typically you're going to have an opponent who doesn't who meets this criteria, and it's a 2-drop, and Norin is never going to die.
Yeah.
So he is basically always going to be guaranteed to attack every single turn if you want him to. And there's a 2-drop that makes 2 treasures.
That seems sick.
I thought it was it's cute.
A background with Norin is hilarious because he's never on the battlefield. So like your background doesn't do anything, but he is if you can go to combat with him.
Long enough to trigger the treasures.
Very cool.
I guess going on the ramp theme, I had a lot of ideas for ramp.
I love this.
Goofy. Takra and Razar Unsupervised. This is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle card, and I feel like this one also slaps with Norin. Whenever another non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield, you put a counter on it, a +1/+1 counter, and you make a treasure. And oh, by the way, it only triggers once a turn, which
that's fine.
Who cares for Norin? So you played this, Norin will immediately leave.
I don't know how I missed this card.
And then every subsequent turn. So if you go around the table, it's triggering on your opponent's turns too. So that's every single turn cycle. If there's 4 people, you're making 4 treasures and you're growing this 3/3 first striker with 4+1/+1 counters.
I mean, that seems like a slam dunk in any Norin deck. It's definitely one that I missed with the spoilers coming out when Turtles.
There's a lot of cards.
A lot of cards coming out. You know, I can't read all the takas and razors. No, I do. I just immediately forget them. I think this is a perfect inclusion. It's definitely like the deck has a funny problem where it has cards like this that grow bigger than the deck is fast.
Oh, true.
Where you're like I will talk about this one in a second, but sometimes Norin is very low board presence unless you can get a couple specific engines going. So having one big terrifying thing is almost bad because everyone's like, I'm coming for you. And you're like, I can't handle it if you come for me. I'm trying to put a sticker on that guy and
I
he's
just want it
gone.
for the treasures, I swear.
But it's perfect. It's definitely a slam dunk in the deck and it has other effects like it.
Yeah, so I also saw that there was a strong discard theme. And there's a lot of cards that I was looking at, and I'm like, well, I obviously want to be discarding cards. You want to turn them into dinosaurs and stuff. And also, it looks like Norin doesn't have a lot of ways of getting stickers on, so it's very important to find those cards. I noticed you had a lot of ways of rummaging through your deck to find certain cards while putting stuff in your graveyard, and then also a bunch of tutors. So it looked to me like you were looking for specific cards.
Yes, really trying to find anything that can put a sticker on Norin. There's only 3 cards that do it in mono red, so finding those pieces is really important. So there's a lot of repeated rummaging, and then there's 3 tutors or something like that.
Yeah, so on that idea, because you're doing the rummaging and you're looking for things, I figured why not maybe try out Artist Talent? Artist Talent does a bunch of things, but I think the first part of it, level 1, is the most important. It's whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can rummage. And I noticed there was 20-ish non-creature spells in the deck, so I think this one has the ability to rummage more than some of the other cards that I was seeing in here. So I was thinking it could be good. And then the other modes are actually kind of neat. They're less important in level 1, but level 2 is a little bit of ramp for your non-creature spells. And then level 3, a lot of the ways that Norin is winning the game is with impact tremors effects. Wherever it's entering the battlefield, you deal damage to everybody. And this actually, especially with a bunch more mana engines and stuff going, it starts dealing an extra 2 damage as well at the end.
It's a little Torbrand effect for your non-combat damage at the end. I mean, it seems really perfect. I've just started to lean into the discarding a little bit more since we've got a couple of repeated rummaging engines in the Duskmourn 2-mana guy. So whenever a little creature enters, you discard and draw.
So cute.
So you can rummage 4 times a turn.
Yes.
It's pretty sweet.
I think that was one of the best rummagers in the entire deck.
It really is.
It doesn't need you to cast anything. It's just Norin's going on.
So more repeated rummagers makes a lot of sense.
So you also mentioned Taka being this big thing might be actually not good for you.
But also, having a big thing means I can block. So
sometimes I can block. Yeah. So this one, it may not work for that situation, but it's one of the first things I think about with Norin.
Oh, yeah.
It's Gimli of the Glittering Caves. It's a 3-mana 1/1 with double strike, but whenever another non-legendary creature enters...
Another legendary creature.
Oh, sorry. Whenever another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get a +1/+1 counter on Gimli. So it's a 1/1 double striker that gets a +1/+1 counter every single turn.
Yeah, really gross.
It gets huge. and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token. This treasure token kind of feels like it's nice, but the main thing is opponent's dead, right? Like
the funniest thing about this card is that it makes one treasure token when it hits, but it does like 7 damage per hit. So you're like, okay, you take 14 and I get 2 treasures, or you jump. Yeah. You're like, I guess I jump.
Sometimes you don't even get a second treasure because they're dead already.
They've died to the first hit. Yeah, Gimli's sweet in the deck.
Yeah, have you been considering that? But does it not work with like the problem of being attacked and stuff?
It was in the deck for a long time. It kind of had this similar thing where I was just like, I know this kind of does the thing, but there's always new cards that I'm trying to find. And there's so many Impact Tremors effects now that I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how many I want in the deck. What are the best ones in the deck? Like, do I want the deck to be just that? Because that feels kind of boring.
Yeah.
So I've had some trouble with like card slots and figuring out how to make it all happen. And Gimli got cut somewhere in that shuffle.
I can see that because he's mostly a finisher. He's a very good blocker, but like he's not really like a mana engine because like the time he's starting to swing, your opponents have to block him or else they die. So that's maybe not the best, but the next
kills
one,
people before I can get a sticker on him.
Oh, man.
Hey, hang on.
I needed a second attraction. What's my hot dog stand?
I love this next one. I did not read this card.
The next one is also a card that's like in a void because it came out in like a holiday season bundle or something.
Cards basically don't exist.
Vivi's Persistent. Also, good luck trying to find a copy. It's 2-mana instant. It makes a 0/1 black wizard creature token that whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. So it's kind of like an Impact Tremors type effect. But the cute thing that I really like is that it says whenever your commander enters or attacks, you pay 2 mana. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. And I was just like thinking, like, first of all, you have a lot of discard stuff you're rummaging away, so you can throw this away. For 2 mana, you get it back every single turn, guaranteed, basically. And then it's essentially like, you can always do like, I pay 4 mana, I'm gonna make a 1/1, or a 0/1, it can block, but also it can deal a lot of damage. And then as you get more of them, it just kind of like becomes an exponential threat where you just have all these little silly little guys. And they're just like, when you cast the spell again, I'm gonna ping, and I'm gonna ping, and I'm gonna ping, and I'm gonna cast it again, and I'm gonna ping, and I'm gonna ping. And it's like, oh boy.
This also adds to the energy of the deck is it's so aggressively upsetting. Like all the mountains are different, all the art is crazy. I've got Sonic cards and Deadpool cards, and like putting Vivi's Persistence in really adds to the energy of the deck, which is chaos. Yes. So I love this one. I gotta find one.
I was also seeing like ways of getting more card advantage. I thought might be helpful in the deck.
It definitely is.
Too many. There was like a lot of rummaging effects, but they don't put you up in cards. They're more for like the selection. I know like some of the stickers, attractions might help in that regard, but you gotta find them.
I gotta find them.
You gotta find them.
I'll be honest, I open like maybe 2 attractions a game. Maybe.
So I have 2 options that I think might help with just like finding those cards. The first one that really impresses me is the Legend of Roku. It's a 4-mana saga. It does a whole bunch of stuff, but really the important thing is just chapter 1. It's 4 mana. You exile the top 3 cards of your library and you can cast them until the end of your next turn. So I see this as basically a 4-mana Harmonize in the deck. Also, I noticed that the mana value of the deck, the average mana cost of all the spells, are on the low side. So it looks like it could handle this style of card draw, impulse draw, really well. So I just thought like 4 mana, essentially draw 3 might be good, and then it does extra stuff, turns into a creature eventually.
Adds mana, puts a threat on the board. I mean, it seems really sweet, and that makes sense. Having I have a lot of sort of like fast ways to churn through your deck, but some more expensive, like stable ways to actually see extra cards is really important. And there's a lot of games where you're like, okay, I have nothing in my hand because I have 2 cards and I have been rummaging.
Yeah, it's got low mana value, so I was thinking like just a little bit more steady card draw.
Yeah, makes sense.
And that's the same idea with the second one too.
I love this
the
card.
Flux from Doctor Who. It's a saga with 6 chapters, my goodness. But the first chapter is just, it's 4 mana. First chapter, it enters the battlefield, you deal 4 damage to a target creature and opponent controls. It's not going to blow up the biggest thing, but it's going to blow up something. And then the really good part is chapters 2 to 5.
The best chapters.
Yeah, you get 4 turns of exiling the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn. And again, with low mana value of this deck, I feel like almost always whatever you're going to see, you're going to be able to play. If it's a lane, you just play that. If it's a non-land spell, you usually have the mana to cast it because it's just a low mana value thing.
Yeah,
so I thought that was nice.
I'm running the red impulse draw
Yeah,
every turn,
I saw that
which is
one.
great. What I really like about the Flux is it's a little bit more expensive, but it enters, kills something right away, and then gives you your value. I've played the Flux in my Cast from Exile deck. You basically never see the end of the chapters. Like, it just keeps going.
It lasts long enough for the rest of the game.
Yeah, for sure. So this is cool.
And then the next one, I was like, well, this is an Impact Tremors deck. And I saw one, I was like, maybe
I
this
can't
one.
believe I haven't put this in the deck yet. Like, this is the speed of cards.
Yeah, Webstalker Ardent. It's a 3 mana, it's another Impact Tremors, but it counts creatures entering and artifacts entering, so even your attractions.
Yes!
It has Warp 1, so even like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm ready to kill everybody. Probably not so much, but like,
Yeah.
you can.
I mean, this is like the best version of this effect
Yeah.
for sure. And the fact that it triggers when Norin enters and when all of the like artifact tokens enter is a big deal. The reason I have both like Impact Tremors effects and Restless Fireweaver effects up for artifacts is different sticker sheets for Norin do, like, one of them is like, make 3 foods. and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with 1 million foods.
Yeah.
So it has like Fireweaver type stuff for that. And it works well with a couple of the other things that are good with Norin. So the fact that this is artifacts and creatures makes it a slam dunk.
Yeah, I felt like it was like a little bit of improvement, not huge, but like a little bit.
For sure.
And then this one's a pet card of mine. But I
card's great.
swear it's freaking good.
It's so good.
Maximum Carnage. It's a it's a saga that's cost 5 mana and it has 3 chapters. And the first chapter, again, I love sagas that have like a very good first chapter. And this one is fantastic. Until your next turn, each creature attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. It's essentially Goad, but it works a little bit better than Goad. Because if an opponent plays a creature that has haste, for example, if you just goad everything, they could maybe like attack you still. But this one is like, no, if your creatures can't attack, they gotta attack and they can't hit you, which is quite nice. And then the second chapter, it makes some mana, which is quite nice. I think it's a little bit less important here just because you have such a low mana value.
Yeah.
But then the third chapter, I like a lot. Just 5 damage to each opponent. That
Done.
could sometimes be enough
Absolutely.
with all your Impact Tremors and stuff.
Maximum Carnage. I mean, the deck definitely has a lot of pinger effects and a lot of enhancer effects. So this feels like it leans into the energy of the deck too,
I
which
saw
is
Disruptive
Spider-Man. Yeah. Disrupticorum's in the deck. Anything that just kind of says like, okay, while I'm doing my garbage, you need to worry about each other. So the goad stuff is really, really good because Norin is sweet, but it is very slow.
I can imagine, but yeah, it's like just a way to like if you also don't have that much of a board presence, it could be nice. Then
absolutely.
for the cuts were the hard part.
Cuts are always
That's
so
the hard
hard.
part.
I agree with a lot of your cuts though, and I think especially with your ads, it makes sense. Let's go through these pretty quick.
Okay.
So we've got Ingenious Artillerist is the first one. That makes sense. It's like it's just worse than Webstalker
Yeah.
Ardent. In the deck, it's 3 mana. This one cares about artifacts.
Yeah,
Done.
a little bit of just an
Makes
upgrade.
sense.
And then Treasure Nabber, I had a question for you. I've seen Treasure Nabber and it looks sometimes good, but then sometimes not so much. But also, I've seen it in metas where we don't have Soul Rings. So
Right. It's a lot worse if there's not Soul Rings
maybe
running
it's
around.
a little bit better with anything. But I just was like, I'm throwing in these really good like treasure engines. So I felt like I don't want to have too much ramp and nothing to do with it.
I
So
think
was like,
you're
maybe
right.
just cut Treasure Nabber if we're adding more like treasure generators and stuff that are more consistent.
Yeah, I think it is not super consistent. I don't really have ways to sacrifice their stuff, so I can't like take advantage of any of the stuff that Treasure Nabber really does. It just sort of says, I'm annoying, which the deck is plenty annoying. It probably doesn't need a 3-mana card that is also annoying.
That's fair. And then, then there was a bunch of cards that the first one, I was like, I probably would, I'd be very on the fence, but I wanted to make a little bit more room for like the other value engines. And the first one is a card I absolutely love. It's Wheel of Misfortune. It's basically a Wheel of Fortune, which everybody gets to discard their hand and then draw the cards, but it has a lot more weirdness going on. Everybody chooses a secret number, 0 or greater. They basically place bets with their life total, and then everybody reveals what number they chose, and then like the highest numbers or the highest numbers lose that much life, and then they get to discard their hand, draw 7, and the lowest number, nothing happens. So if you don't want your hand to wheel, you just choose 0, and as long as everybody else is choosing a higher number, you get to wheel. I don't know, like sometimes wheels can help your opponents a lot. I know this deck really wants more card draw though, so this was like the last card I was considering cutting. But what did you think about this one? It's
challenging. I tend to put these in my red decks, especially the decks with all the rummaging, just because I bet I could use a reset in my hand a lot more than other people can, because my engines aren't as good to keep my hand full. So I often think that I can take better advantage of a Wheel of Misfortune than my opponents can, but there is that risk that you're playing with people that you reload their stuff, they draw the Walking Ballista, the one answer to Norin.
No.
It's fine. The stickers stay on him in the command zone.
He's only 3 mana to recast.
It's fine. I guess it'll be fine. So it's probably not super necessary, but it's one I just default to in red decks.
Okay. The other ones, I felt these ones probably are easier to cut for me would be, they're all basically the same. They're Instant Speed Rummagers, Demand Answers, and Thrill of Possibility. They're just 2 mana, discard a card, draw 2. And then the 4 mana ones, Big Score and Unexpected Windfall. These ones, you discard a card, you draw 2, but you also make 2 treasure tokens. So it costs more mana, but you get 2 treasures. I kind of felt like with the ads, we added a lot more mana engines. So like the mana from Unexpected Windfall and the other 2 are not as important. And I kind of felt like Artist Talents and the other card draw engines might be a little bit better for the deck than these Rummagers, because they don't put you up in cards and the other ones do.
Yeah.
Because it is a low mana value deck. I wanted to make sure that the deck has more ways of just continually having cards in their hand.
Right.
And that's why I wanted to swap out those things that are not card advantage over stuff that are card advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, these are the kind of cards that you like. The treasures are the big upside. They're supposed to put you into your big spells, but this deck doesn't have a ton of big spells. And it hasn't put you up cards. I think these were just in because I had all the ways, like when artifacts enter, you deal damage. And I was like, oh, these are fine. It's a good way to spend my mana. And they're not actually that integral to like how the deck actually works. Better with cost reducers or copying spells, that kind of thing.
Same idea with Mind Stone is like, I think we just added a couple more ways of making mana a little bit better than Mind Stone. I like that it can draw a card later on, like you play it early, and then when you're low on cards, you just cycle it away. Yeah. But I felt like
you also don't need that much ramp. Like the deck doesn't really have that many expensive spells. Maybe just casting a 2-mana engine is better.
This is the scariest one.
I love this card.
It's a Warstone Surge, so it's like whenever a creature is entering, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. But it's a 4-mana Warstorm Surge. That it affects everybody.
So any creature entering.
Look, it's very good with Norin because you get to shock things, but you're shocking things, and then your opponents are like, I'm playing a 6-mana 8/8 creature and they can shock your face. And I think this is like a card that I would be like, okay, well, if you're trying to win the game immediately, fine. But if I'm like just playing it and
like passing and he's
slowly valuing people, I'm like, okay, now I'm a little bit scared.
Here's my crazy line.
Okay.
You put a power and toughness sticker on Norin.
Oh!
So you can make him into like a 6/1 or like
keep it in. You sold me. You sold me.
It's so bad.
You sold me on stickers.
It's so bad.
Yeah, but it's so funny. I feel like the funny cards have to stay in.
Sometimes you just have to like Pandemonium rots in your hand, and sometimes you rummage it away if you're playing against a big stompy deck. But sometimes you play Pandemonium and you're like, you can't kill Norin, and I'm happy for you all to go nuts.
Okay, you sold me on this one. Just I guess cut a land.
Always.
And the last one, Wild Magic Surge. It's kind of like a Chaos Warp. It only targets your opponent's permanents, and then they get to basically shuffle that away, and they get another card of the same permanent type. Directly onto the battlefield. They don't get to choose which one. It's like just random off the top, but they're always guaranteed to get something, and it goes onto the battlefield. So I feel like it's a lot degrees down compared to Chaos Warp. And I think almost always when you cast this, like typically you're going to get rid of something that's scarier than whatever they get. But I don't like that they guarantee to get something compared to Chaos Warp. Yeah. I feel like this is a type of card that is entertaining that I would run a lot, but like I'm not quite sure how effective it is. Yeah. So it is one of the ways of dealing with like enchantments and stuff though. So I do like it, but I felt like one of the cards that I would maybe cut for some other upgrades.
Yeah, I think that's a fair cut. I really like a package in my red decks that is uses like stuff that can turn things into artifacts and then abrades, and like you use the removal that red's good at and use it to get rid of other permanents when you can turn their enchantment into an artifact. So with the amount of artifact tutors that I have in the deck, I probably have enough to just play something a little bit better and less risky.
Yeah.
And there definitely has stuck in my head where I'm like, if I cast this, I lose. Okay, that's Norin. I'm so stoked about it. There's definitely some cool things to look at. Again, like having clean eyes is such a big deal. But let's move on to the next deck. This is Selenia Dark Angel. This deck is awesome.
It also needs work, so I'm glad you picked this one.
So Selenia is an old commander. It's 3 white-black for a 3/3 with flying, and has pay 2 life, return Selenia Dark Angel to its owner's hand. That seems terrible, because it is. But basically, this is a pay life outlet in the command zone. So you have a way to adjust your life total really quickly, and the deck will like swap your life total with other people's life totals and will like pay life for benefit and that kind of thing.
Yeah, the weirdness with Selenia is that you can actually respond to her own ability. So you can hold priority, activate her ability as many times as you want. And so if you're like at an odd life total, you could just activate it until you get to 1 life and then do a life swap or something like that, which is not super intuitive to read it, but like that is how it works. And it's just silly.
I love life swap decks. I built Mr. Negative for game nights. He's so fun. I also have a Nashi deck that like halves life totals. It's really designed around like making my opponents pay a bunch of life as well because I'm paying life. It's like, why gain life when I can make everyone lose it? So I was excited about this one, mostly because I just wanted to do the research, and seeing how different people handle white decks is my favorite, because white decks have a couple extra hoops that they make you jump through to get ramp going, to get your card draw going, and make sure that you're stable. So let's jump right into it. The first card I wanted to mention was Peter Parker's Camera. This card's incredible. It's like $2. It's 1 mana for an artifact. It enters with 3 film counters on it. You pay 2 and activate it to remove a film counter and copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I like this card in a few decks. Decks with fetch lands is the best. You can copy fetch land triggers, get 2 lands. So this can be like 2 mana rampant growth in the right moment. But also it's really good with decks that are doing big, impactful, expensive things. So if you're like, I'm swapping your life total on ETB, then and like doubling those things are so good in the late game. Obviously, you don't swap with the same person twice. That doesn't do anything. But you know what I mean? It lets you choose new targets. So it takes those like big, impactful plays in the late game, and it can really make sure that you can slam the door shut. And in the early game, it's a nice little ramp piece.
I think this is a slam dunk. I just forgot this card existed. A lot of the Spider-Man stuff is just like, I don't remember.
This card's incredible. And I keep putting it in decks, and I want to build like fetch land packages around it, and it's really fun. So that was my first one. I did want to add another fetch land. You have 2 in there naturally, but I added a Fabled Passage as well. Card's only like $4 or $5 right now, so it's been reprinted in a lot of pre-con. So I was like, all right, well, now's the time to get it. But it's also good with your Sun Titan and like Angel of Indemnity. You have some ways to get permanents back from the graveyard. So
I just forgot that I thought it was like an expensive card, but
it came down a lot. It's not a budget card by any means, but it's like, it's in pre-cons. It's a lot more accessible than it's ever been. So I have a lot more Fabled Passages floating around than I think I do.
Yeah, easy.
And then, so your deck really uses like a bounce land package to be the primary ramp suite for the deck. And it uses a catch-up ramp, so stuff that says if you have fewer lands, then you get a land into play, and then bounce lands to give you make sure that you're always behind on lands, but never behind on lands, if you know what I mean. So I like this package. I do that kind of thing a lot in my white decks, but I also really like pairing it with stuff like Poo Poo UFO. There's a 2-mana artifact creature. It's an angel. It's a construct alien, but he's an angel. And it's a 0/4 with flying, and it says tap, put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. And then it says something about towns. That's not important.
No. I love him so much. I love the Poo Poo UFO so much. I love saying the name.
He's so good.
That's a little alien guy.
He flies,
That's
so he's
fun.
like will chump block in the late game, but he's really good with bounce lands because you're just always putting more lands back into your hand. So you can play the bounce land, return the land, and then just put the land that you bounced right back into play. You also have land tax and a few other ways to repeatedly draw lands, like Weathered Wayfarer in the deck. So I was like, you've got good land draw engines, and this lets you convert the land draw into actual ramp.
It's one of my favorite cards that came out last year. I have it in other decks. I just forgot to put it in here, honestly.
Yeah,
So
it's not
really
one that
good
I think a lot of people think about in white decks, and it's great. As long as you're full of bounce lands, and this deck is. Horizon of Progress is along a similar line. So when I was goldfishing this deck, I was having trouble with the mana base. There's a lot of colorless lands and a lot of pips.
It's a mess.
So there's like a whole desert package. We'll talk about that later. So I cut a few of those just because the colorless lands were really gumming up the works. And I put in a couple of lands that tap for multiple colors. Horizon of Progress is one that I picked. I think this card is still a little underpriced. And it's tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. So it's 2 lands. You have to pay a little bit of life for it, but Selenia doesn't mind that.
No, not at all. That's a benefit. Like.
Yeah. And then 3 tap, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. And then you can pay 1 mana to sack it and draw a card. So that's good with Sun Titan, that kind of thing. What I like about it is it's a 2-color untapped land that lets you cheat lands from your hand into play. Some of the games that I was having with Selenia, I didn't have a ton of action in the early game. I had a lot of cards that were good once my life total was low or once I had a way to swap, but I didn't have a ton of ways to spend my mana in turns like 2 through 4 or even 2 through 5 when I wasn't really ready to get Selenia on the battlefield because she's kind of more of like a late game finisher thing.
Yeah.
So having a Horizon of Progress that says like, look, this isn't a great way to spend all my mana, but at least I have something. And in the meantime, it's a 2-colored land.
I think that's a great point. It's that if you don't have a commander that is not like a value engine, because like a lot of commanders, like face commanders on precons and stuff, they usually say like, play me early to mid game,
as fast as possible.
Yeah, early to mid game. I'm going to help you with the ramp and the card draw. But like, if you have a commander that doesn't have that, and it's like a late game thing, you really need to emphasize more to having that early game presence, early game value engines in the 99. And that's a great point. Like this deck is very slow. And that is the pain point of the deck is like sometimes I'm not ready to get going before the game. People are trying to actually win. And it's because my early engines are a little bit lackluster sometimes. So I think Horizon of Progress is going to be a nice way. But I forgot about it.
It's also like, I don't know, when you're building a deck like Selenia, you focus on the part where Selenia is sick and where the moment is really cool. So you put all the stuff in that you're like, this will be really great in this situation. And
when
you're
I have
like,
20 mana.
wait a minute.
A life swap.
That's not good until turn 7 to 10.
Yeah.
So having some more stuff that just makes the early game feel a little bit more stable, gives you a little bit of like board presence like Poo Poo UFO or just stuff to do. I also put in Shattered Sanctum. This card just got reprinted in Strixhaven, so the slow lands are a little bit cheaper right now. It might be worth picking up right now. And then I put in a little bit more disruption because I have you have a lot of ways to deal with creatures, but not a ton of ways to deal with non-creature spells. And I really like Heliod's Intervention in decks like this.
So
X, Y, white, you can destroy X target artifacts and enchantments, and then target player gains twice X life. So you're doing risky stuff with your life totals, dropping your life total really low, gaining a ton of life back. What I like is this is an instant that if something goes wrong, you're like, okay, I can fire this off and like gain 8 life, and I don't lose on the spot. So it's not a great way to spend your mana, but it's also a removal spell that you can dump a ton of mana into.
I mean, there are ways of saying like in a deck, there are some cards that say like whenever you gain life, an opponent loses that much life.
That is in the deck,
and this is a great way of actually utilizing it because the primary game plan with Selenia it's so fragile.
So fragile.
I like that it's fragile because it's like very dumb. And like sometimes I just kill myself. You know? Like I'm going to go for it. And then somebody's like, oh, you're at 1 life though? Oh, I'm going to deal 1 damage.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah, you're lightning bolt and you're dead. So like having something like this in the back pocket when things are not working out, especially when you're using your life total so aggressively, sometimes you're just not ready. You don't have a life swap or something, but you're at 10 already. You know? So and people are going to swing at you for lethal, and he loves intervention, but also it is really nice at just being able to pick off multiple things.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. It scales really well. 3 mana to kill a thing isn't super efficient, but the option to do 4 or 5 and like clean up somebody's crazy equipment board. Like I keep losing to Captain America. So maybe that's this.
No, that was a great one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. The other thing I wanted was a little bit more flexibility with like creature ETBs. There's a lot of creature ETBs in the deck and some really powerful ones. So I was like, I don't want to put a ton of blink spells in there that don't do anything, but maybe a Parting Gust is at home here. This is white for an instant. Exile target non-token creature. If the gift wasn't promised, return that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. But if it was promised, that creature doesn't come back. So this is just an exile spell for a creature if you're in trouble, and it can blink your Mr. Negative, or it can blink some of your ramp cards at the right time. You can do a block and blink situation, and it just sort of gives you a little bit more flexibility. I've been liking Parting Gust a lot in my decks, and it feels like it's a nice toolbox here.
I didn't think about it because I didn't consider it as a blink deck, but it is. There are a lot of creatures.
There's a lot. Yeah, it's not a blink deck, but it's like could use a blink or two.
I always assumed like, oh, I'm a blink deck, I'm going to run Parting Gust. If I'd known, I don't. But like the fact that it has that flexibility is quite nice. I really like flexibility on removal spells, especially, and 2 mana is very respectable for that. It's not that much more than like a Swords to Plowshares. So I think this is a great pickup too.
The next one I wanted to mention was a Sorin of House Markov. So this is 1 in a black for a 1/4 with lifelink and extort. And at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if you've gained 3 or more life this turn, exile Sorin, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. It's very easy to gain 3 life with Sorin. You only have to extort 1 time in Commander. So you have a fair number of extort effects in the deck already. So I was like, that'll be right at home. But then he flips into Sorin, Ravenous Neonate, which ticks up to make a food. Sick.
Yeah.
That's not why we're here. -1, Sorin deals damage equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn to any target. So this is repeatable removal. This is a way you could actually kill somebody. It is another extort effect in the deck, and it's like $2.
Wait. Deals damage equal to the amount of to any. Okay.
You can go face. You can get creatures. It's really tidy.
I think like I read this card when it was like previewed or something, and I'm like, this looks okay.
Yeah.
But it's just too much text, so my brain just shut off.
Totally fair.
And I couldn't read all of that.
I'm not even going to read the ultimate. Who cares?
What? This card's, how much mana is it? 2?
It's 2 mana.
What the heck?
It's also a 2 mana 1/4 lifelink that you just put on the board and like have a body.
And you sort 1 time and
and it flips.
How is this not in my deck?
Your deck's not great at defending planeswalkers, to be fair, but if you can use it the turn it comes down, you can like kill a thing, or if you're in the late game, you can kill a thing early and be like, you can't have a professional face breaker or whatever, you die.
Oh my God, you can play it and then immediately flip it and use the, oh my God.
It's pretty nasty.
What are you doing?
Yeah, well, a lot of formats have that question. I put Tenuous Truce in here. This is a 2 mana enchant opponent. At the beginning of enchanted opponent's end step, you and that player each draw a card. When you attack the enchanted opponent or a planeswalker they control, when they attack you or a planeswalker you control, sacrifice Tenuous Truce. So you both say like, you and I will benefit from card draw and we will not attack each other. You don't have a problem making that promise. This deck isn't much of an attacking deck.
No.
And if you can put it on an opponent in the early game, when you know you're a slow deck and not necessarily going to be like, I'm going to kill you in the early game. Like, this is a nice slow engine that you can cast on turn 2, give yourself a little bit of protection from an opponent, because they will be greedy and try and get a couple of cards off of this.
I think, Rachel, these things are freaking brilliant because, again, this deck is so freaking, it has these grand, ambitious plans, right? It wants to get to like, okay, I'm going to play Selenia, and then hopefully nobody kills it so I don't have to bounce it and recast it again for 5 mana.
That would suck.
That always happens. Somebody board wipes and you're like, I have to spend spend another turn recasting Selenia.
Right.
And then when I have Selenia, I'm going to have my 7 mana life swap ability. then you'll see, and I'll be at 1 life, and hopefully nobody kills me. Then you'll see. But getting there is so freaking hard. So yes, it makes so much sense that you're focusing on like these immediate effects that can like make sure my opponents don't win, by turn 12 before I'm ready to go, and
you
then,
can do some sick stuff. We just have to get there.
Yeah, and I was like, I've never read this card in my life, and then I'm like, what's this from? It's New Competitive Commander.
Yeah, it is.
I never remember these cards.
You know it is.
I'm gonna forget this card, Viv. I'm glad that you put it on the document. So I need to be like the memento guy, and I need to write like New Competitive Commander exists.
I've done that so many times with Magic cards.
Oh my god, this is New Competitive Commander. Just
so good. Just reread all of them.
Yeah.
We'll put a link in the show notes. Just to the Scryfall page with all New Competitive Commander. And finally, I thought this was a really cool Decorum dissertation deck. This is a new one from Strixhaven. This is 3 black for a sorcery lesson with Paradigm. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So
perfect.
This is a nice draw engine. It's really hard to disrupt. You can turn it into a burn spell if you needed to. You're already running Sign in Blood, so it feels like it has that flexibility, and like you have a lot of setup turns, so you spending turn 4 casting this is like, yeah, I'm going to draw a couple extra cards. I don't look like the problem. If you're going to attack me for some damage, that's fine. I'm used to it. I'm going to swap anyway. So I like this one as just like a 5 mana draw 4-ish to 6.
This is actually a slam dunk because
awesome.
I do run. There's certain draw spells that are target player, and that's
They can
for
take 'em out,
the reason. Exactly. Like I will swap you down to 1, but then I still have to finish you off. And like I like the flexibility there.
I skipped right through a couple of questions I had for this deck, and I do want to ask them before we get to the cuts here.
Yeah.
So there's a couple cards that I was like, what is going on?
Yes.
Why is Amonkhet Raceway in the deck? This is a start your engines, and it taps to give a thing haste.
Okay, it's not good.
Yeah.
There was a phase when Aether Drift came out.
Yeah.
And not the best received set in terms of battle.
Not really.
But for some reason, when it came out, all of us were obsessed with that stupid land. And we all ran it in the Commander Clash crew. We all did it.
Yeah.
And my favorite was Krim. He had, was it Need for Speed? The movie with like Keanu Reeves in the 90s. And whenever he would need the speed counter, he would place the DVD on the thing to mark his speed.
Yeah.
I don't know. We had a phase.
Yeah.
We had a phase where we were all like, oh my God, this card's so good.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. If you draw like turn 1,
it's really good.
It's not.
Your deck's also so bad at increasing your speed.
And the color pip actually hurts the deck.
So bad, yeah.
I just never took it out.
Yeah, you should take that one out.
That's like, even a basic is better than that.
Yeah, I agree. Then you have an expedition map in here, which is really cool. And you have some neat lands. What is the first one that you go grab? Is it the Leech-Ridden Swamp?
It's not Amonkhet Raceway.
It's not Amonkhet Raceway.
It's usually like a bounce land. I'm running a lot of catch-up ramps.
Bounce
so I'm
land's
like
a good
grabbing
answer.
like a Guildless Commons or something like that. And usually that just means like I have so many catch-up ramp cards that I was like, well, I need to find more of the bounce land so I can run more of them, even though maybe I'm probably just running just too many catch-up ramp spells. That's probably the real answer.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them on my list, but I think it's really cool. And I also found myself looking for bounce lands a lot. So this isn't on my list for ads, but I do think it's kind of neat in the deck. Hear me out.
What?
So I was like, this deck might actually want Sundial of the Infinite, which is a 2-mana artifact that's 1 tap and the turn. Activate this ability only during your turn. This card is unreasonably expensive. It's like the cheapest version is like $12. But with the amount of bounce spells that you're playing, you can end the turn with the bounce on the stack.
No way, Rachel! You're a genius! I've never thought of this in my life. What the?
I was like, wait, that's actually like super cool.
This beats Cleansing Wildfire.
It's very narrow and weird.
It beats Cleansing Wildfire.
It was like $12 for this like mediocre advantage, but it's pretty cool. So you could activate Sundial and then not bounce any lands to your hand, and then you've just played a regular land that taps for 2. That's cool. But also you're playing a deck that is so risky that something could go so terribly wrong that you're just like, never mind.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of times where I'm like, and I go to 1 and I cast a spell that maybe will put you in a position where you die, and they're just like, lightning bolt, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have like a lot of cards that are just like, I can't die this turn. I'm a little bean. Please let me try again.
Please
next.
be me. Yeah.
Let me try again next turn, please.
This says like, okay, you put my death on the stack.
Yeah.
we're just gonna stop. We're
Yeah.
just gonna stop this entire turn, and I won't die. I'll be at 4, but like I'm so dead.
Yeah.
Pass. So I was like, maybe there's enough moments that Sundial of the Infinite is good,
Maybe.
which is crazy. But anyway, that is beside the point. We have to keep moving. Okay.
This makes sense.
Yeah. We're going to talk
There
about
it
some
comes.
cuts. Yeah, you have to cut Cartographer's Hawk. That card is terrible.
It's amazing.
I heard the argument. It's not good. It should die. Playing this card in white decks is like white is still bad. It's not. You don't need to play Cartographer's Hawk.
It's silly.
It is super silly. And like these kind of things stick around because they're fun. But yeah, I would cut Cartographer's Hawk so fast.
Makes sense.
I also think I would slim down your catch-up ramp selection. You only really want to draw one card that's catch-up ramp, because once you've played one, you're back to parity, and the next catch-up ramp spell isn't very good. So I was like, okay, we're going to cut this back and give you a couple ways to just ramp that works after you've caught up. So I cut Claim Jumper and Sand Scout as well. Sand Scout is really cool and gets you a desert, but also the deserts are kind of mucking up your pips. So having colorless, like I have a desert deck, they're terrible. Your mana base is terrible when you have a bunch of deserts. So I was like, okay, we're going to cut Conduit Pylons and Lazotep Quarry as well, which are both colorless unless under extreme circumstances. And then, we got to cut Reliquary Tower from this deck.
But what if I'm drawing so many cards?
You have so many white spells. There's so many white pips. Every time I drew.
I've mulled so many games where I'm like, I have turn 2 plays. I literally don't have any white sources.
So I just cleaned house on a couple of the colorless lands.
Yeah, no, this is correct. Ripping off the Band-Aid.
And then I had a couple other like early plays that I just think are like kind of fine but not great. Dawn of a New Age is a really cool draw spell that I actually run a lot, and I think if you draw like 3 or 4 cards off of this, it's great. In this deck, it feels very likely that you're only going to draw 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Because it counts the number of creatures you have in play, which isn't that many creatures. Off-Nab Goat, hilarious, very fun. Don't know why anyone would activate it, and you can't really take advantage of it.
I was just obsessed. Like, I looked at the art, and it's like a silly goat that you hand around.
The freaking coolest.
This was my favorite card from Lorwyn Eclipse. The entire set. It came from one of the precons,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes sense in the precon because it's all about -1/-1 counters.
Right.
But it doesn't make sense here. But I'm like, look at it. Look at the art.
No, I agree.
And then I was like, it doesn't make sense.
I tried so hard to keep this card in, but I was like, if you play a 2-mana creature and someone steals
It's
your
not good.
only creature on the board, you're like, oh, cool, I'm just getting slammed.
Yeah.
I also wanted to cut Font of Agonies. This card's really good, but it's only good when Selenia is in play. So it's like a 1-mana play that isn't good in the early game. And if you play it in the early game, people will kill you.
Yes.
Because they're like, you could later blow up one thing. And you're like, if I pay 8 life, like, please don't kill me. But it just threatens to do something you can't really do. So it's just not a good early play.
You actually nailed this one where I added it because it's like, obviously you would put it in a deck that loses life on command. But like what I've started, at least my current preference for playing Commander is don't put things that make a huge threat on a maybe.
Yeah.
You know? Like this could be very scary to your opponents, and it holds a gun to the table, being like, you can't play your creatures because what if I accidentally kill it? I much prefer replacing this with like one of your suggestions, like a Parting Gust.
Yep.
Where it's like, you don't know that I can get rid of it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to like, you're not going to dogpile me. I much rather, I like having answers.
Yeah.
But I don't like telling you that I have the answer.
Right. Some rattlesnakes are good, but this rattlesnake is really tough to actually sting.
Yeah.
What do rattlesnakes do? Bite? I don't know what a snake is. We're going to have to talk about that later. And finally, I cut Marlborough. I don't know why he's here. I'm sure there's a reason.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Okay, that's fine. It's Commander.
Demon Lord Excruciator.
Yeah, okay. I was going to ask what Demon Lord Excruciator is doing. Tell me about this.
So I have ways of winning in goofy ways, yes?
Okay, of course.
And I was like, you know what the deck needs? another goofy way to maybe win sometimes.
I love it.
So I'm just obsessed with this card.
It's also like so hard for this deck to cast, by the way.
It was hopefully better now that you're taking out the stupid colorless lands. It's like 12, it's like a bajillion black pips. It's like 6
5 or 6
something
black pips.
It's something ridiculous. So unplayable in this deck, but I love the card. I think it's such a cool design. And I have like 2 black decks that I could run it in. And I was like, screw it. I'm throwing it in here. I love this card so much. I'm throwing it in. And it sometimes works with, the things target player has to draw cards.
Sure, yeah.
Again, so ambitious, but this entire deck is so ambitious. And I was like, you know what? This deck doesn't need early game plays. We'll just throw in more stupid crap. And also it makes 2 of my coworkers salty because they hate Mill. and all they do is they draw cards. It's Seth and Phil, by the way, if you're listening. All they do is draw cards. They're Mr. Seagate Restoration.
Sure,
All they want to do is make a token that draws cards, never even think of it like winning the game or attacking. And this puts them sends them feral.
They have to
it's just
discard and mill.
Well, they have 7 cards remaining in their deck, and then they're like, but I need to draw cards, but I'm gonna die if I draw cards. I'm like, yes,
do
that's
it.
the point.
I want you to be afraid.
So the marble roll is there too. It's also if the life swap loses 3, but again, overly ambitious, which is
What I like when you have an ambitious plan to be like, this is the ambitious plan, do everything for this ambitious plan. A second ambitious plan is like, what if the first one fails? Then I have a second one that will also fail because I've only half supported both of them.
The deck is not good.
I can't wait to see your Demon Lord Excruciator or deck, though. Whatever his name is, he's the Doomsday Pile.
Yeah.
This deck's awesome. I love Selenia. I was really excited to do some research on it. So I hope you keep it together because it's cool.
I will. And there's another Orzhov commander that's also really cool that I was obsessed with because it's like if I ever have to swap out Selenia for another Orzhov deck, it's going to be this one, and I was so excited to see how you built it. It's Shilgengar, Sire of Famine. I've done a little bit of research on this commander just because I did a $45 deck on it, but I've never really gone super deep on it, and I've done very minor playtesting. So Shilgengar, Sire of Famine is a really cool black-white Angel Sacrifice deck. It's a 5-mana 6/6. When you can sacrifice another creature, you create a blood token, but if you sacrifice an angel this way, you create a number of blood tokens equal to its toughness instead. So you sacrifice any creature, you make a blood, but if you sacrifice an angel and it has 4 toughness, you make 4 blood tokens. And blood tokens, you can sacrifice a blood token for 1 mana, you discard a card, you draw a card, so you rummage.
Yeah.
And then you could pay 3 mana. These are 3 Orzhov hybrids, so white-black hybrid pips. Sacrifice 6 blood tokens, return each creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Those creatures are vampires in addition to their other types.
Yeah.
So your deck is fantastic in terms of it's Orzhov Angel Reanimation gets around kind of a lot of the issue of angels being they're usually a lot of mana to cast and stuff. And this is a great way of just putting them all on the battlefield immediately. Yes, I have finality counters, but who cares? You're probably going to win the game.
Yeah.
And also, I love that it's also instant speed, all this stuff too.
Instant speed is nuts. Shilgengar is such a cool commander. Also, the most badass art in Magic. Maybe it's like a demon sitting on a throne of angel wings. It's gross, sick. Also, he's the demon that created the first vampire.
Yes, he worked with Edgar Markov and manipulated him into doing it. He did a famine. I love the look.
He's cool.
And his friend's so cool.
I'm excited to see your ads for this deck because I've just really struggled getting all the pieces that I want into this deck to fit in the 100 cards.
Yeah, because it feels like it has to juggle a lot of things, which is I wanted to lead into a question. So Shilgengar, you want to be sacrificing ideally angels to get a bunch of blood tokens. You also want to get angels in the graveyard because then you can reanimate them. Obviously, sacrificing them helps with that.
Yeah.
And blood tokens, you can discard the ones in your hand to set them up in the graveyard, which is very nice. How does a deck feel when it's not working well? What are the pain points of the deck where you're the game plan's not working properly? Where do you think it kind of goes wrong?
The deck's really interesting because it has a decent amount of angels that you can cast, like 4 mana, 3 mana angels, so that you can sacrifice to get blood. That doesn't feel like I cast a 7 mana thing and then I sacked a 7 mana thing to get that same 7 mana thing back.
Yeah, I saw there was like a 2-drop it's 2 mana 3/3 angel. You can only play you can't play it in the first 3 turns, I believe.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't matter.
It's 3 blood, and it dies and comes back. So I play a fair amount of things to like get the blood going, but that really puts all of your eggs in the Shilgengar basket. You can do a lot of stuff at instant speed, but a well-placed removal spell usually means that like Shilgengar doesn't get activated.
Right.
So if you play all your angels, play Shilgengar, and then somebody fires off a removal spell before you have the triple black up, then you're in sort of a weird pickle, and you can put yourself in a tough spot where you sacrifice your whole board to get blood tokens, but then still have to recast Shilgengar and activate it after he gets removed. So those are sort of the major points. Basically, if you untap with Shilgengar, the deck can do it. Like it will bring a bunch of stuff back. Even if it's not like the best angels in the graveyard, you have a lot of flyers. You can usually close it out.
Right. That makes sense. So it's kind of reliant on the commander to really do its thing, but the commander's payoff is so good that it's like really worth having him around, right?
And really worth removing if you're my opponent.
And building around.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are like how I was thinking about the approaching like some cuts and adds is like maybe we can consider finding ways of ramping out Shilgengar a little bit easier, especially once you've developed a couple of blood tokens. Maybe like there are a couple ways of like utilizing them in a way to get them out a little bit earlier, and then maybe adding a little bit like lower cost consistency so that you're hitting your lane drops always and making sure Shilgengar has the mana to do its thing, and maybe also like find that spot removal. Because I know it's a very well-rounded deck too, which I loved seeing. Is like you're not like, oh, if I don't cast Shilgengar, I'm not gonna do anything. It's like you also had like a multiple mass reanimation spells. There's like a bloodline something.
Yeah, the one from Lorwyn,
Yeah, and is like these are great ways of being like secondary ways of like fulfilling the primary game plan. So I really liked it. So my ads, the first one, I feel like you probably considered it. So I want to hear your opinion on it. Rampage of the Valkyries kind of feels tailor-made to this play style. It's a 5 mana Orzhov enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance, and whenever an angel you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So it's a Grave Pact.
That makes an angel.
So you can immediately start Grave Pacting. And it's a 4/4, so you make 4 blood.
Oh, yeah.
And sacrifice it to Shilgengar.
This card's great in the deck. This is a big one that a lot of players will put in Shilgengar. I don't love Grave Pact effects. I don't love how I feel playing against them. I don't love holding like a gun to the table to be like, I will sack all my stuff. Because it's like, I don't really care if you have other stuff. I have bigger flyers. I'm not really worried about that. This card would be great in the deck if that's more of like the meta appropriate thing. But the people I play with, for the most part, Grave Pact effects are not played a lot.
That's fair. Maybe a game changer one day. I don't know.
I've asked about it.
Yeah, so that I wanted to bring up because it seemed like an obvious thing, so I wanted to hear your opinion on that. But the next one I think might be a little bit more fun. Inspiring Statuary. Inspiring Statuary is a 3 mana artifact, and it gives your non-artifact spells improvise. You can cast them with improvise. So that allows you to tap not only Inspiring Statuary, but all your blood tokens that you're making for mana. And you mentioned that one of the pain points was when Shilgengar gets taken out, you have the blood tokens already, but now you have to recast them. And I feel like the blood tokens might be a great way to like accelerate that. So if you do have blood tokens, you can immediately turn those blood tokens into the ramp. You don't have to tap them to sacrifice them to Shilgengar's ability. So you can, cast out the next angel you needed or whatever to immediately activate Shilgengar. But also, if you have blood tokens and Shilgengar's gone, now you have a bunch of extra mana to recast them easily.
Or just cast the angels that you've drawn. It's so funny because I've thought of all of the other like artifact cards to put in there where it's like Malakir, whenever an artifact leaves, you drain the table. And I was like, I'm not going to play any of those. I don't want this to be an artifact deck. I want it to be an angel deck. But Inspiring Statuary is like, great in this deck and doesn't make it more of an artifact deck, really.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier to actually cast your angels.
Yeah.
That was a big thing I ran into where I was like, I'm not winning the game with angels. I'm winning the game by sacrificing blood tokens. So I made a big gear shift in the deck building process to be like refocus it on like, I want to win by attacking my opponents with angels.
Yeah.
That's what the deck is.
Yeah, you don't want to just be like a Aristocrats loop deck. You want to feel like an angel deck.
Yeah, I wanted it to feel like what it was. I wanted it to feel like what it looked like. So I just sort of stopped looking at artifact cards. But this one feels like a really good spot for it, where it's like, it's actually not that good in artifact decks. So it doesn't live well in artifact decks. So it's actually a great spot for Inspiring Statuary.
And what I like about it is because you don't have that many artifacts, it's a 3 mana, like a Mind Stone at worst. So it does help you in the early game. But obviously, once you have that engine going, then that's what takes you the extra mile to like immediately turn that into like a very scary board state or just recast.
Yeah. I mean, Shilgengar is basically converting your blood tokens into a mana advantage. And this does effectively the same thing, which is sweet.
And then I had less suggestions on the other one just because the deck feels very tight.
It's so tight.
It's so tight.
Crazy.
So like it obviously like you have a lot more experience with this one, and I haven't played Shilgengar that much. I've play tested it twice, and that's it. And I brewed around it, so I thought about it a lot. But like, yeah, a lot of the tight list. But there was a couple options that I thought maybe might help you in the early game, which I felt like pre-Shilgengar, this might be a way of kind of like setting up for a way to have the board not overwhelm you early on.
For sure.
So the first one was, they're actually just 2 cards that are very similar to each other. Ancient Venom is a Spider-Man card. It's a 3 mana black flash menace, and whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So if you're sacrificing creatures, doing anything with that, if you have Shilgengar around, this is just a way to just keep your hand full.
Yeah.
And then if you get answered or anything, well, now you have a way to redeploy, make sure you're hitting your land drops and everything. And the one that I think is actually better in this deck is actually Morbid Opportunist. It's not every single time a creature dies, it's only once per turn, but it counts also your own creatures, and I believe
It's your opponents as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's your opponents.
Yeah.
And, does it count tokens? It does count tokens.
Yes.
So you're not a token deck, but like if your opponents are losing tokens or whatever, it's a very consistent source. This is something that you can play early on, and even if you don't have Shilgengar on, just stuff is naturally dying, so it can get you a little bit of card advantage. And once you do have Shilgengar, I don't imagine you're sacrificing that many angels in a single turn.
No.
So I feel like it's going to work similar to
Right.
Agent Venom. The other one that I like is an angel that's relatively cheap. It's Thraben Watcher.
Oh, yeah.
And what I like about it, it's just a 2/2 flying Vigilancer, but it gives all your non-token creatures +1/+1 and have Vigilance. And what I like about it is it's not a very expensive angel, so you can play it relatively early, and it pumps up your other angels. So now they have 1 more toughness, which means 1 more blood token. And if you do reanimate it, or if you just have a couple angels on the battlefield, that means you can start pressuring the table without having to worry about getting attacked, because your angels are really big. So I feel like they can really benefit from Vigilance there.
There's definitely moments like this deck becomes a threat all at once. And the Vigilance is really important to not just be like swing out with all the stuff that you just got back, but now everybody thinks you're the opponent. So, well, obviously you are because you just reanimated a bunch of angels.
Yeah.
So now everybody comes for you, and you don't have enough to like actually take a player out. But yeah, I Vigilance huge in decks like this.
This one I wanted your opinion on, because I'm not sure how relevant it is to your way of winning, but Thief of Blood kind of caught my eye for this deck, and I was considering putting it in my own version, but I wanted to hear your opinion on it. Thief of Blood, it's an expensive spell. It's 6 mana, 1/1 vampire with flying. But when it enters the battlefield, you remove all counters from all permanents, and then Thief of Blood enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each card counter removed this way.
Yeah.
So the idea behind this is use a blood token to discard it. You don't want to be casting it,
Of course.
from your hand. You discard it, and then when you do a mastery animation with Shilgengar, it will come back with all your angels, and it will remove the finality counters from everything. So if you do get board wiped, you're not losing all the creatures. You can, in fact, just re-sacrifice everything to Shilgengar, and then have a huge blood token army, and then you can recast Shilgengar afterwards and just do it all over again. But like, how relevant is that for you? Do you find like once you do have a big board state, it's kind of GG, or would that be actually helpful to recover from board wipes?
It's interesting. most of the time, I feel like if I've reanimated my stuff, this is only good when I have Shilgengar and I've activated Shilgengar, which is a situation I'm already pretty good in.
Yeah.
And then the benefit is I remove all the finality counters and I have another big thing, which is good. But I've sort of built my deck to not really fight the finality counters all that much.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like, yeah, that's an okay break. I'm okay with all my stuff like being exiled and having to figure it out again. Yeah. So I'm okay with like the finality counter nerf. A lot of players will play Solemnity in this deck, which I think is like so you get no finality counters. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That feels like a jackhammer to answer like a regular hammer problem.
Right.
And you play Solemnity and the counters deck will kill you with everything they don't have.
Right.
So I stayed away from stuff that's sort of like can remove all the counters multiple times. I have a few things that benefit from them. And so it feels a little bit win more, but also it's cool and it's a vampire with sick art. So it's definitely one that I like could include in the deck and just haven't really been tempted to cut an angel for it.
I was thinking just because it can just reanimate for free, but you do have to spend a blood token on it.
Yeah.
And then the question is like, okay, well, once you have that big board state, how much are you actually afraid of board wipes? And I don't know because I haven't gotten to that point that many times.
It's definitely one of the ways that you can lose. There's enough angels that protect your board from like damage or indestructible and stuff that it hasn't been a huge problem, but the board wipe answers the deck and exiles everything and you're like, okay, back to square zero. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this would definitely be like a good protection spell, but I don't know if I would play it over something just like a flawless maneuver or something like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so then I had only 2 more cards.
No, please.
The first one is my favorite type of like Plague Belcher type. Was it Plague Belcher?
Plague Bearer? Plague
something. Well,
I was looking this
Fleshbag
up.
Marauder is one of the things. Plague Bearer, I think it is.
Yeah, I was looking this up recently. There's too many plague cards.
Yeah,
I think it's
something.
Plague Bearer?
Plague Crafter. There it is.
Plague,
There's a lot
he
of
crafts
plague.
the plague.
My
He doesn't bear
goodness.
it.
My goodness. Well, this is my favorite variant of it.
He's
It's
great.
A Cursed Marauder. It's a 2-mana version of this. When it enters, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. I really like that it's non-token too. So like if somebody is like a token deck, they don't care about sacrificing like a 1/1 soldier or whatever, but this gets around it. And I just kind of like this as just a nice way of kind of keeping the board more chill, without being super aggressive with like a Grave Pact effect. And I do think that kind of works a little bit better here because you have a little bit of sacrifice payoffs. And then also now it's going to be in the graveyard. So when you do go reanimate, now you've also cleared a creature from each opponent.
Yeah.
So I just kind of felt it was a little
and
bit
it
more
exiles
earlier
itself,
interaction.
so it's not something that you can like loop over and over and over again. Once it has the finality counter on it, I mean. I think having some early disruption that's just sort of cheap to like make it so when I'm casting angels and stuff, I'm not just dying to people who were set up earlier is probably smart. It's I haven't put this card in a deck yet because I just don't default to the edict effects like this.
Yeah.
But they're like, this is just an early tempo play that like if you're not planning to do it every single turn, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on like Grave Pact effects. Also, it just puts like such a large target on you too.
Yeah.
On top of like the feels bad, but I feel like the one time things, as long as you're not going super hard on it,
it's totally
then
doable.
it could be more useful
For sure.
Then the last card is another card that I was thinking like just to like speed up the game plan a little bit more to get to the point where Shilgengar is doing its thing, and it's Citrus Supplier. It's just
The
a
best.
1 mana. It enters or dies. You mill 3 cards, and with Shilgengar, it just means like it enters for 1 mana, you mill 3, and then you eventually sacrifice it to Shilgengar, and you mill 3 again, and you make a blood.
Yeah.
And it's all for 1 mana. So it just to kind of like lower the curve a little bit and get it going. It allows you to run a little bit less angels if the idea is just reanimating them.
Right.
Because then you just dig more.
You don't have to
find
play
them.
the 4 mana ones, the 3 mana ones. Yeah, it's I think Stitcher Supplier was in an early draft of the deck because I love this card. I put it in just about anything. But it's when I was putting up all the angels in, I was like, well, I got to cut something, and I have Stitcher Supplier in other decks. But
have more angels.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It continues to surprise me how good this 1-drop is.
So those are all the things that I was looking to cut.
Yes. Add.
Just to add, and it wasn't as many as before because I feel like the deck is so tight. So I was like, I gotta throw in some, and I really wanted to pick Shilgengar because I am personally very invested.
He's so cool.
In this
You'll love
commander.
it.
I really think it's cool. So Yeah, it was a little bit out of my comfort zone compared to some of the other ones, but like this one was the one that I wanted to just hear mostly from you about. So for in terms of cuts, I love Path to Exile, but my hot take is Path to Exile is a ramp spell that can sometimes
Be removable. Sure.
Yeah, I like that. So I run it a lot in token decks, but I don't run it outside of it.
Yeah.
So I considered maybe cutting it. What do you think?
The deck has a lot of disruption, as is a lot of angels enter and blow stuff up, and like it can control the board in a pretty real way. So it's possible that it's not worth spending a slot on efficient removal. That is one of my deck building defaults, is just be like, pass swords. Because it's those, like, I'm always happy when they're in my hand. The big thing with Path for me is I only spend it in the late game. That's not one I'm going to fire off to kill an early creature. It's only one that's basically going to save my life in the late game. And sometimes it's not enough. And in the late game, I got a bunch of angels. So maybe I don't need it.
That's why I was thinking I basically would take out that for like those Accursed Marauder effects.
The early disruption.
Maybe like 2 more of those, you know, without going to like Great Pack. Just throwing a couple of them. And I thought maybe that could be a way to utilize the removal earlier when needed. That was my thought process. The second one was Mind Stone. Again, I think it's a fine card, but I wanted to swap it out for the Inspiring Statuary, which I felt like that has a little bit more. It's worse just by itself without any blood tokens than Mind Stone. But once it's not that much worse, especially when you're so top heavy and Shilgengar is a 5, you could still get a Shilgengar on turn 4 with either of these cards. And then just the upside of the Statuary, I thought might be more interesting than Mind Stone.
Yeah, I agree.
This one, okay, point of discussion. I think it's good.
It's
so
good.
I was like, I need to cut something.
It's tough. This is a 3 mana draw 2, lose 2, make a blood.
Yeah.
As a sorcery.
It's a divination, but it's better in this deck because it comes with that blood token, and blood tokens are so good.
They're so good.
And also, like, I think you need to sacrifice 6 blood tokens. So if you're at 5 and you do point of discussion, that feels great. But I just feel like overall, it's just like the
easier ways to make blood tokens.
Ways. And also just like 3 mana draw 2 is just, I feel like that's not impactful enough for how much mana you're spending on it.
No, I agree.
So I was thinking like, I would probably cut like that for like a Morbid Opportunist, where I do a 3 mana and it's not going to draw cards immediately. It doesn't have a blood, but I feel very confident that it's going to draw more cards than
more than 2,
discussion.
certainly. Yeah. And it still gives you that blood if you sacrifice it. Ooh.
This one, I was like, okay, this one looks bad as a cut. But I have never been personally very impressed with it. Although I'm the most impressed by the art. I think the art is absolutely stunning.
Oh yeah.
It's Sarah's Emissary. It's a 7 mana 7/7 angel with flying. When it enters, you choose a card type. You and creatures you control have protection from the chosen card type. So this is a really like safe protection spell. You play it, you have this giant, really cool looking angel. And typically what I see people choose is instant, because that means I'm protected from targeted removal, which is quite nice. So you can't just like swords the Sarah's Emissary and stuff and turn it off. Or they choose creatures, which means, you know, you can't attack
be blocked,
me.
You
can't
or you
be
can't
blocked.
attack me. That too.
Yeah, you can't be blocked. You can't attack me, and I feel very safe. So choosing creatures, I feel like, is not super impactful, because by the time you have this angel out, you have a 7/7 flyer. Yeah, so like good luck attacking me, and then also good luck blocking me, because again, they all fly. And then choosing sorcery, I almost never choose. I never see anybody choose, because it's like
basically blasphemous act.
Yeah, and that's not gonna. Outside of like some red burn spells, it's not going to protect you from most of the wipes. And then choosing like instant, like, that's a little bit better. But like, even if I've mass reanimated everything, then and I lose the Emissary to like a swords, who cares? Like,
I have a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
If you're trying to spot remove the board I just reanimated, I guess, go ahead.
And then I was just thinking, like, it's 7 mana, so hard casting this must be a nightmare.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's
this one gets banned for sure. Yeah, this is mostly just an angel I like, but I agree. It is not particularly impressive in a deck that is all airborne.
The Sarah Avenger, I don't even know if I would want to cut.
She's so cool. The Scott Fisher art is so good.
It's also very efficient. We went over this is 2 mana, 3/3 angel, so it's 2 mana, get 3 bloods. The only downside is that it's not a very impressive angel by itself. But again, you have high concentration thing. I was just thinking like, I would replace this with the 3-bin one that gives everything +1/+1 in vigilance. And
Actually gives you an impact.
It's 4 mana, so it's also not the best sack token, but I like the fact that it gives you extra bloods on all your other angels. And then also it's just kind of like, yeah, now I have a critical mass and now I can swing out because I don't have to be afraid of blocking or anything.
Right.
And then the next one, okay, fog meta is real.
Fog meta is real,
And
but
I'm
we're
a
cutting
believer.
fogs here.
I'm a believer of fog metas, but like I go my number, my quota on fogs, which I like running fogs, 1.
Yeah.
I go for 1, and yeah, maybe that's not enough to see that every single game. But I hate seeing 2.
Yeah, I also think
seeing
I also
2.
think there's kind of 3 in this deck.
3.
I mean, there's this one, there's Ink Shield, and then there's the
Ink
one
Shield.
that like re-chooses how attackers attack, which is basically.
Oh
a fog.
yes! Oh yeah! The Sarah. The
Yeah.
Sarah. Yeah,
He is-
it's a
he's
green
also
guy.
basically a fog.
It's like the Blue Man Group with the green one. I love because that one's the coolest one.
That was cool.
because you could reanimate it. Yeah, an instant speed.
At
during
instant
combat.
speed, right?
That is so.
Thank you.
That's so freaking cool.
I was like, that's really
That's
cool.
Very cool. So cool. So yeah, 3. Okay, 3. And now
3 is way too
now
many.
I feel good about cutting this one.
No, 3 is way
That
too
one,
many.
Brune, I love. It's also
Card's
the
cool.
cheapest of the ones
Yeah.
to actually cast consistently. I have seen it kill people before, but we ain't cutting Ink Shield. Ink
No,
Shield is,
Ink Shield's
is
incredible.
goated.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Angel is obviously the goat of the, like that's
Yeah,
the coolest
it's
thing.
cool.
That's the
No,
coolest
this
thing.
totally makes sense. It's just I only have the white black deck, and I was like, whoop, you got to play Batman Broom, and you can. It's
It's
sweet.
a cool one. And then the last 2, again, I just needed to find something to cut.
It's so hard to cut cards from this deck.
Fracture, instant speed, 2 mana. You blow up an artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. It's a disenchant.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it hits planeswalker, but I just personally haven't come across planeswalkers that much. Is that
It's absolutely a naturalize, and
Yeah.
it like has more words that makes you think that it's good. The amount of times I've had Fracture in my hand that's like, this kills creatures. This doesn't kill
Doesn't kill
creatures.
creatures.
No, it's not very good. It should not be in the deck.
So I don't like cutting too much instant speed. That's cheap. That's interaction. But I felt like this was weak enough that maybe replace this one.
Yeah.
And then Animate Dead. Oh, like it's an amazing card.
Yeah, what do you
It's
want?
an amazing card. You can. It also synergizes so well with the deck in terms of like you discard an angel with your blood, and then you don't need Shilgengar.
Right.
But I don't know. We got Reanimate.
Yeah.
We got what's the other one?
I'd probably cut Reanimate first, honestly, because this
gives
deck
us a
has
lot of
Sarah
life
Paragon, and so you can recast the Animate Dead from the graveyard with Sarah Paragon, I think,
True.
which is
Okay.
cool.
Yeah,
But,
so
yeah.
there are good backups, but I just need to cut something.
It's tough. It's tough. The commander reanimates. You don't want to spend a ton of
Yeah.
cards in the 99 on the stuff the commander already does.
But you don't want to be over committed to it too,
Yeah.
which I totally understand. But then I was just like, there's
It's-
a lot of reanimation.
Trust me, this is my pain with this
Yeah.
deck, where I was
But-
just like, all the angels are so pretty, so I
Yeah.
can't cut any of those. And I
I-
can't cut any ramp because then it won't work.
I loved it though.
I'm
It was
so
such
glad
a
you
treat
liked
to
it.
Look at it.
Thank you so much for looking at my decks. I really enjoyed looking at yours. I hope this was fun for all of you guys to watch as it was for us. We talked about a ton of cards today. So many cards.
So many cards.
If you want to buy any, you can support us at cardkingdom.com/command. Card Kingdom is the very, very best. They've got so many cards all under one roof. If you're like us and you do a ton of brewing, you've got a new deck list that you're excited about, you can copy the whole thing, paste it into the deck building tool. It gives you a whole page where you can just pick all the ones that you want. We're picky. We're commander players. I'm very specific about what versions I want. So having it all in one page so it doesn't take me all day is a big deal. And you're supporting the Command Zone when you shop with cardkingdom.com/command. And then once those cards are in your hand, you've got to keep them safe, keep them pretty, keep them themed. Go to ultrapro.com/command to get sleeves and deck boxes, playmats, binders, card sorting trays. That thing's my favorite. I use it literally every weekend when suddenly new Magic cards appear. I don't know how they got there. Plus, they go on sale all the time. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, you should do it because they'll send you an email and be like, everything's like 30% off all of a sudden. And you can support the show if you use our affiliate link at ultrapro.com/command. Okay, I wanted to take a moment just to talk about this exercise because this was sort of the first time I've really like sat down to like dig into somebody else's deck,
Yeah.
and especially somebody that I respect so much that I'm like, I know this is intentional. I know all of these decisions are here. What am I missing? So what did you
the veil
like?
is shattered when I'm
Yeah.
like Demon Lord Extrusier. It's not good.
I like it, but I like it. And that's part of deck building
Yeah.
is like knowing when you're breaking the rules, knowing when the decision you're making is like for you and because
Yeah,
It's fun.
or sometimes you're just so much in this like specific meta that you don't see those like, oh yeah, you've gone too far.
Totally
You're in
understand.
too deep.
Did you think this was hard, like digging into somebody else's deck? Because I thought it was so hard.
I thought it was so hard because like you're a very unique deck brewer. So it's not like I'm looking at like the top 100 of EDH rec over here, you know, like it's a lot of very unique and specific styles of deck, which means I do not have the most experience with most of these decks. I looked at a lot of them and I was like, I cannot contribute this because I never even thought. Like again, I was like, finally, Mirko Surveil deck.
Yeah,
yes,
easy.
Straightforward. I got you. And then you're like clones, and I'm like, what?
There's always another line. It's always like the name and like something else.
Yeah. So it was
it's Norin
surprisingly
stickers.
hard. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Like thinking through somebody else's thought process and trying to goldfish. You know, you're playing a deck a different way than they would be playing it. You're
Right.
like, I don't know what I'm supposed to find with this like expedition map. I know the thing that I want is a bounce land. Is that the thing that I should be getting? I don't really know. So getting to live through that lens and be like, okay, what makes this deck work? How does it ramp? How does it draw? How does it use the tools that it has in the colors that it is to like at its fullest? Because I think a lot of the ways that you and I think about cards is we look at stuff more deeply than what it says on the card. Like the dowsing device, you know, you look at it and you're like, this cares about artifacts. This isn't a spells deck. What the hell is this doing here? But you're like, aha, this is a ramp spell. This is a 2-mana red
And it dodges farewell.
It dodges farewell. So just trying to like see that third layer is really cool and interesting.
And it was a cool insight also into each other's metas because I could see from here like there are some, especially enchantment threats, that I expect that you're dealing with that I am not dealing with on a regular basis. And I'm like, that checks out.
Yeah, you got to be able to answer it. Smothering Tide, Resist Study, Ghost of President. Terra Symbiosis, can't let those things sit around. The card's crazy. Having those different answers for different things is always really interesting. Anything that you noticed in particular that you were just like, oh, I don't do this thing that you do, like any weird little habits, because I definitely like look at your decks and it was like I can see the synergy, I can see you making decisions like all to sort of serve the theme and the thought behind it, but you're really into like packages of things where it's like I have this and this whole thing goes in here, and I could recognize that a few different ways, which is not necessarily how I think, and I think it's really cool. Where it's like I have a whole plan, this is the ramp plan, and it's like a whole sub synergy of the deck, and because that's in both Selenia and in Melek. Which is cool.
I think for you, what I notice is that you're very well-rounded and you're very much expecting that interaction is going to be not only necessary for you and are going to be building around it. Like we just looked at Shilgengar and how it's like, yes, when Shilgengar is doing its thing, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But like I have backup plans, you know, like I'm ready for doing reanimation stuff without Shilgengar because I expect it's going to be gone.
I assume this is not going to work out.
Or I'm going to run a decent amount of cheap interaction because I expect my opponents are going to have something absolutely disgusting on like turn 4 or 5 that I will answer to because I've lost a lot to it. That was the vibe that I got to it. Whereas I feel like a lot of times I'm just so greedy. I'm just a greedy. Like so when I make budget brews, I'm like, you know, you gotta have like 10 spot removal and stuff. And when I'm with myself, I'm like, sky's the limit, baby. Let's throw in 5 more finishers. Why not? It's like hope for the best.
That was definitely a big thing. Like the difference between my content decks and my like personal decks are really real. Where it's like my personal decks are a mess because I'm just like, well, I think this is fun. I think that's fun. I have this one in foil, and like here they go. And my content decks are all very decision based and very like all of these are just serve the plan of the thing. And then you look at my decks at my house and I was like, oh yeah, that has 101 cards in it because I just didn't cut one from the digital list yet.
Or this card was banned? I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly.
It was very funny because I was updating one of my decks, and my partner was going through it because I put like some little proxies to test stuff, and he was like trying to see what was behind it, and he found Mana Crypts, Dockside, Jeweled Lotus. And I'm like, oh yeah, I mean,
that's where they are.
I knew they were good, so I was testing other cards, obviously, and it was like,
so funny.
He was like, now we have to go through every single card and let's see your bulk because there could be stuff hiding. There was stuff hiding.
You got to check your bulk.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Tomer. I know this was a long one, but I had a lot of fun.
This was such a pleasure.
Good. Well, thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. And let us know in the comments what you thought of these decks. And hopefully you learned something because I know I did. So we'll see you next time. Thank you to our amazing team here at the Command Zone. Thank you to Karina Cruz, Josh Diaz, John Schneider, Galati, Jamie Block, Jordan Pridgeon, Jake Boss, Becky Bell, Eric Lem, Manson Lung, Josh Murphy, Evan Limburger, Sam Waldo, Josh Lee Kwai, and Jimmy Wong. Bye.
Bye.